Greetings, everybody. We are live. Welcome back. Another Sunday evening here on the Twitch.
Kick Drax out.
he's muted himself. He's good.
No, he's actually in Fiala's spot.
Oh yeah, Drax, you have to leave the Discord, dude.
That's awesome.
Because of your name. Cheers, buddy. Now everyone's in the right place.
Put a Z in front.
Could have put a Z in front of his name, I guess. But anywho, we are back for another live show, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Everyone is here. It is stinking hot. I'm sticky and sweaty. It's gross, but we're here. We're going to do it anyway. Episode 21 of our persistent campaign, Thieves and Demons, we're calling tonight's episode. Hey?
We did yet?
No, not yet. You might be. Anywho, I don't think we have any announcements for the channel, so we'll just get straight into the recap.
Still waiting for that shit demon.
It could be coming. It could be tonight. You never know. Tazzy, how you doing? So we're just going to jump straight into the recap. So episode 20, after entering the Valon City sewers in search of Riffic, the thief of the scrolls from the Arcanus, after a couple of hours of searching, following tracks and messages left in Thieves' Cant, which Alessandros was able to decipher, you noticed movement in the smelly grey water. Erupting from the waters, two large undead constrictor snakes, along with a couple of small demon-like creatures. Het found himself grappled and pulled into the foul waters. You managed to defeat the foes with some huge damage from Siddiq's radiant weapon. Continuing your search, you noticed a large group of rats swarming towards you. Nothing really came of it, but shortly thereafter, you disturbed a giant's rat's nest, and a couple of large diseased-looking rats and a couple of swarms of smaller rats attacked. A smelly mental, i.e. smelly water elemental, also appeared. Namaris and Siddiq made short work of the giant rats, and a well-placed thunder wave reduced the swarms to just a few rats from Fiala. Alessandros soon finished them off. Het attacked the smelly mental, which chased him down, spraying him with shitty water, covering most of the group in this crap. It was pretty intense. Fiala then cast Dust Devil, which picked up more water and debris from surrounding areas, and Het finished off the smelly mental with explosive results, again covering everyone in foul, disgusting water and goop. In the end, Fiala then dropped to Dust Devil right on Siddiq, adding to the filth. You then cleaned yourselves off and prepared to continue your search. And this is now where we pick up our story, episode 21 of Paradym Bold, Thieves and Demons. So you guys are still in the city sewers. You're in a long corridor. You're pretty much at the point where the rat's nest was on the left-hand side of the sewer tunnel, and you are all congregating on the right-hand side of the sewer tunnel, cleaning yourselves off and preparing to continue forth looking for the thief. What are you doing, people? What are you doing?
I'm using the jug to clean myself off after the shit fight. Then I guess we're going to move.
He's just using prestidigitation to clean himself.
Likewise.
Oh, I got nothing.
You give me a sec. Yeah, I'll take care of myself, then I'll do you, okay?
Hey.
Het finds that amusing.
You would.
So, you spend a bit of time sharing around the jug, cleaning yourselves down, or those that need it, that don't have a spell to do it for them. And it doesn't take very long, about 10 or 15 minutes, you clean yourselves up pretty good. The stench is still pretty strong, especially for you, Het. The smell is just, you really can't handle it. It's in your nose. It's just everywhere. It's on your skin. You just hate every minute being down here. It is disgusting.
Hey guys, not really liking eating down here. It's disgusting.
Right. Do you continue forward?
Yes, because I want to get the hell out of here.
So you continue
We
forward.
need to find this dude.
Again, Alessandros, you obviously leading the charge, looking for more markers for potential markers for the potential whereabouts of the thieves, or the thieves' den, or just where you need to go. You do find another mark, and as you are moving along, and you are heading in the right direction. It takes you about probably another half hour, maybe, and you then reach another one of those large chambers. It's a big round chamber. The corridor you're coming in on leads into the chamber. Then what you can see is, I will show you what you can see, and we will go to a small battle map. So that's essentially what you see. You got a large round room, which has a big pond in the middle, for want of a better term. Off to your left and your right, because you got light coming through the grate at the top of this room. It's about 60 feet in height, and what you can see to your left and right is another two passages, and one passage leading straight.
Well, I guess it's what do we do now? Which way, team?
Allie, do you see any sigils or anything on the walls?
And these things here are little footbridges across the water, just so you know what they are. And there's one across each sort of corridor.
I thought they were waterfalls.
No. The little footbridge.
We must be wary of the water. I picked this. More of those snake things we dealt with last time.
What, you mean a shit demon?
So, what are you guys going to do? Which passage are you going to take? You're going to have a look around? What are we up to?
Ali, where's the marker leading us?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Make an investigation check as you search around the room.
Can we help him with that?
You could. I mean, well, no, because you can't read Thieves' Can't, can you? I don't think anyone but a rogue can actually read what he's looking for.
Yeah, but we could still see the markings, wouldn't we? We just don't know what it says.
Yes and no. Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask Alessandros, he might be able to explain what he's looking for. Maybe. If you wanted to help. Basically what we can do is anyone who wants to help look around for those marks, make an investigation check as well. Or anything unusual, put it that way.
18 for me.
That'd be a 12 for me.
13.
It does not help.
And Alessandros, what is your roll?
20.
20? Yeah, well, you know exactly what you're looking for. You search around the room. You do find a mark, but it's not next to a corridor. It's on the wall opposite where you're standing. So where you're standing on the map there, if you go around the circle to the opposite side, the opposite corridor, it's on the actual wall between the two corridors.
So pretty much go straight.
What it says to you, Alessandros, is that this is where you need to be. You have reached your destination.
Check the area for secret doors.
Make a perception check. Oh crap, hit the microphone.
23.
23. So searching around the area where you found the symbol, the glyph that you were looking for, you do indeed find a lever well hidden. Like the walls are covered in all sorts of crap, as you would say. The water level gets quite high in here sometimes, especially when it's raining. It floods, so there is like the walls have all sorts of growth and that on the walls. So you sort of, as you're feeling across, you feel that one stone that just feels out of place and feels like it would be some sort of mechanism. Also, with that perception roll, as you're sort of running your hand across the wall, you swear you hear the water bubbling behind you. It's almost like something had just broken the surface. Everyone that rolled over a 12 on their perception check, you would have also heard this. Anyone looking in that general direction may have even seen the ripples on the water.
Turn and face the water and get ready.
So you just turn and face the water and have a look.
Yep.
Are you going to be? Well, you can't. Again, it's grey water. It is disgusting. It's foul smelling. It has things floating in it.
I poke my
There's
sword at.
all sorts of stuff there. You poke your sword in the water.
I do.
So you're going to move up to the water's edge, and on your side, and just sort of poke around in the water.
Yep, I agree. Even creatures underwater. Yep.
Neymaris, as you sort of walk around, you sort of just running your sword into the edge of into the water there. You swear you touch something. It sort of, you find purchase for a split second, and then it's not there anymore. And you sort of come back and you look around, and nothing seems to be there. But you swear that you hit something solid in that area like a second ago, and you sort of come back to it, and you backwards and forwards with your sword, and it doesn't seem to find purchase again.
I'm just gonna quietly put my helm's stand there and look at my sword and put my helm's vengeance.
You gonna what now?
Never mind, I'll do it later.
No, what were you doing?
I was just gonna cast Helm's Vengeance.
So you're gonna activate the sword. What you were doing. There's not a spell called Helm's Vengeance. That's the name of your sword.
Yep.
So you're gonna activate the glyph on your sword, or your swax.
My swax.
Your swax is the chat.
I'm gonna activate the glyph on my swax, but it only lasts for 10 minutes, so I might just hang back a sec.
So you're not gonna activate it?
Not quite yet.
Okay, so you're preparing to activate the glyph on your sword.
If I see something jump up, I'm activating it.
Okay, I'm going to cast Mage Hand.
Yep.
I'm going to send it 30 foot out. I'm going to make splashes in the water.
You don't make splashes in the water. You can't make splashes in the water. Your mage hand is only for shoving things, and has to shove something solid, and you cost you a bonus action.
It feels like you guys are poking a bear here.
Yeah.
But for
Degrees of theatre.
for the story, you guys watch as Alessandros waves his hand and mutters a few arcane words, and then a spectral hand sort of appears for a second, then disappears, and then you see the water splashing in places, as
30 foot out.
which is pretty much right in the center. And as you're splashing in the water, you do indeed disturb a creature of some size. As the splashes start to break the surface, a giant, wet, slimy head breaches the surface ever so slowly and raises its body out of the water. It is standing about, by this point you can see about 12 or 15 feet of it. It is very, very tall. It is very, very wide, and it looks like it has some large tentacles sort of moving and breaking the surface all around it. And with that, we will now roll initiative.
I know nothing.
It's activated. I've activated Helm's Vengeance.
So with that, I'll let you activate Helm's Vengeance. So you now have essentially Bless.
I secretly look at it and point at Allie.
What did you do?
I don't know.
Do you speak with your mouth full, young man, woman, man?
So that's roughly where you guys would have been in the battle there, or in the beginnings of the thingamy-bob.
That's me, all the other overweight.
You are there. We have Sadiq here, Neymaris, and then back down the corridor a little bit still is Het and Fiala. We will roll initiative. So first off, Alessandra, your initiative, please.
20.
20, nice. And Het,
It also gets dirty 20.
30, 20. So we're gonna do this simultaneously. Well, we're gonna do it in order, but in order that gives me on the tracker. So Fiala, you're next.
15.
15. Neymaris.
4.
4. And Sadiq.
11.
11. Right, so we have at the top of the round Alessandris. So as this giant thing, it hasn't fully come out of the water yet. Or you can see what sort of resembles a head and shoulders, and probably looks like it's come out at about chest height. You're not sure how deep the water is. You know that the water in the channels is about 10 feet deep. You're not sure if this pool drops off any deeper. You would expect it to be about 10 or so, 10 at the very least 10 feet deep.
What, you expected me to jump in that thing? Hell no!
But with that, the creature lets out a real sort of bubbly sort of moan. It is really kind of like a fart, but really watery. For one of
It's a shark. Oh,
well,
sorry.
kind of like a shark. It doesn't spit anything at you yet, but you are now faced with this thing as it sort of turns and looks at all of you, sort of wondering what the hell's going on, sort of looking at who's going to try and eat first. So, Alessandros, you are first up.
Okay, I'm going to push the stone in and open that door.
You're going to push the stone in and open the door.
Yeah,
You'd use that as your free action. So you reach back and you press the stone. You hear it sort of that sort of as you press it in, and you hear it click, and nothing happens.
Well, you just suck the M, really? I mean, come on.
That's what it does. It does nothing at this point. Maybe, possibly.
Wonders who Ellie is talking to.
Ellie's talking to a god.
The goddess of thieves.
But yeah, so that's your free action. Now your movement action, bonus action. The creature is approximately 20 feet from you, 20 to 30 feet in the center of this pool.
Alright, I'll get my bow out and start shooting at the damn thing.
Okay, so you retrieve your bow and take your shot. Roll to hit.
$21?
21, that does hit. And your damage?
10.
10 points of piercing damage. And where are we?
Goodbye, arrow.
Yeah, as you sort of draw back on your bow and you sort of aim carefully and you fire it, you release it, and it finds its target. It sinks into the creature's flesh, if you will, and just almost disappears. It sort of, you can see it sort of bury itself halfway through, and then all of a sudden you can watch it slowly as it sort of is absorbed almost by the creature. It doesn't seem to be in any kind of pain as such. It didn't make any sort of sound. It just is. and it definitely, you definitely hit it though. Movement. No, and bonus action if you want to use a bonus action.
Another bonus action was the opening of the door, wasn't it?
That was a free action.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I'll wait.
You wait, so stay where you are. You're not going to move?
Yeah.
Okay then. Next up would be Hit. Fiala, you're on board after that.
Hit drags towards his loot. Dances at the creature and plays a little tune and he sings, "You're living on borrowed time." And the creature must make a dick save.
Dick save. Ooh, that is not a good roll. That is a failed save with a 3.
Hit was casting fairy fire.
Fairy fire.
So the creature is now lit up brightly in cold, bluish white light. Everyone now gets advantage on attacks against the creature.
They certainly do, and it cannot benefit from invisibility.
That is also true. Hit is now concentrating because of fairy fire.
No problem. So Hit is concentrating on his Fairy Fire spell. He casts the spell, and it lights the creature up in this brilliant sort of blue-white light. And the creature's sort of looking around, trying to figure out what the hell is happening. It's used to being in the dark a lot. The only light it gets from the grate when it does surface, and you get the impression it doesn't surface very often. Is that your turn complete, Hit?
Hit will move 10 feet forward behind whoever is contact. That'll be Namaris, I believe.
That is correct. And that is your turn. So Fiala, you're up.
All right. I want to look at everyone and say, I want a spa day after this. And I'm going to turn into a giant constrictor snake.
Ooh.
And I'm going to try to go up to it and constrict.
So, Hit, you watch as Fiala her body shapeshifts and sort of drops down and stretches out and then grows in size and turns into this large constrictor snake, which has, and literally slivers into the water. You have a 40 feet swim speed, so you can indeed move up to the creature and attempt to constrict the creature. The creature is huge, so I'm not sure that you are able to. So could you just read off the constriction portion of your stat sheet, please?
It doesn't say a size. It just says one creature and what to hit. Bludgeoning damage. The target's grappled. Until this grapple ends, the creature is restrained and the snake can't constrict another target.
There is a save to it.
Escape DC 16.
So strength. Pretty sure it's a strength saving throw.
I think it is.
The strength saving throw 17 is the roll the creature made, so I believe that is a save.
Dang it.
So roll to hit firstly to see if you do your bludgeoning damage.
That is a 23.
Now remember you get advantage as well, so roll twice, take the highest. And
I'm going to stick with 23.
23, so that definitely hits. So roll your bludgeoning damage.
14.
14. And yeah, you guys watch as the large constrictor snake slinks into the water and then hits the surface, and you see the tail come up and slams into the side of this beast, and it hits with because it's two wet creatures now, it's like a large slap, wet, yucky, muddy kind of sound, and it does the damage, and the creature sort of turns and looks at the big snake, but your attempt to grapple unfortunately was not successful. The creature's just a little too sort of slimy and bulky.
Is there any way to let Namaris know how deep it is, or can I see how deep it is if I'm in it?
You would know. Actually, no, you probably can't see, even as a snake. You could go check to see how deep it is, and I'm not sure that you'd be able to let Namaris know unless she directly tried to contact you.
All right, that's probably a movement anyway.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, you're sort of swimming on the surface, making your attack, so you're probably not sure how deep it is just yet.
All right, that's it for me.
That's it for you. Next up, we have a dice roll. And can I get a perception check from everyone as well, please, except for Fiala? You probably wouldn't see them.
DM, also, just the grappling, you can grapple one size larger than yourself as a creature. I just thought I'd check that for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. So she's Constrictor Snake's large, so she should be right with a huge, yeah?
It is indeed,
Yeah.
correct.
I knew size had something to do with it.
It always does.
Oh.
Definitely.
And there we go.
Yep, it had to come in. There was going to be sexual innuendos there somewhere. So
21
perception
for
checks.
perception. 21.
21 for you.
15 for me.
Actually, you'd probably see them anyway. Sadiq.
22 for hit.
No Maris?
Oh, you got a 13.
Even with a 13, you'd probably notice them. Sadiq, you definitely notice the one closest to you. You sort of out of the corner of your eye, you see some movement, and as you turn and look, you see this shadow just form against the wall and then move away from the wall and move towards you. And Alessandros, you're the same. Just on the opposite side, just around the corner, you notice the shadow sort of shift and move, and then it pull away from the wall, and two creatures appear. So there'll be no surprise there, but they do have a turn before you guys, according to the initiative order. So they both move. One to Alessandros, one to Sadiq, and they will make their attacks. Ooh. And they're staying. You notice also too the big circle of light in the center of the sort of covering the water. They seem to try and stay away from the light as much as possible. They're outskirting sort of any light shafts that are coming down from the grates, that are hitting the sides of the thing there. They're avoiding that. It's quite plain to see they're avoiding the light. They're going to make a claw attack against you, Alessandros, with a 13 to hit.
Yeah.
That hits. So you get 10 points of psychic damage.
Oh.
And Sadiq, a natural 20 on your roll, unfortunately. So you will take
All the psychic damage.
15. Oh no, sorry. 12. 15. It's 19 points of psychic damage. And I think that is about it. They're not really going to do much else apart from that. No, so that's it for them.
Just want to check something.
Yes.
Does Het still have his light spell going?
Potentially. Again, it depends on when he cast it last. I mean, I would assume in the corridor it definitely would have been up. So whether it's still up, it would be up to
I believe
him.
it was up last
Yeah.
game, so I
So
would say possibly, yes, I will be lit up.
yeah, it's outside the bright light zone anyway. It's sort of 20 feet. So that even the one at Sadiq will be just outside the bright light zone, so that'll be fine. But well called. So definitely we'll take that into account. And next up will be Sadiq.
You know the questions I'm about to ask, right?
You don't need to ask those questions. Essentially, you know that these creatures are probably evil or fiendish in nature. It's pretty obvious with the way that they move. And as far as the shit thing is concerned, you would not know 100%. You'd probably get a feeling. You would have to be 100% sure. You'd have to have someone cast divine sense or something like that, or detect demons or whatever that kind of spell is. You would just have to strike them and find out, basically.
All right. Also, I was just thinking. Oh, would I know what type of damage would do the best damage to them, as in fire or?
Roll an intelligence check, because this would probably be part of your studies as a ghost hunter.
That would be a 12.
12. Yeah, you probably would say, you probably at that roll probably not. You might be fire. You're not 100% sure. You're really not sure with a 12. Unfortunately, it's just a little low.
I'm gonna light my sword on fire anyway.
On fire, okay.
And then, so that's let's see, 24.
24. That definitely hits. So do your full damage, including your radiant. Zero intelligence. I don't know if he's got zero intelligence.
It's a +0 to intelligence, yeah. So that's 22 points of damage.
And how much of that was radiant?
Let's see, 7 points would be radiant.
So we got 15 normal damage, 7 points of radiant damage.
Well, it's actually, okay, it's 11 points normal, 4 points fire, and 7 points
yeah,
radiant.
You're going to have to break it down, because these guys do have some resistances and whatnot. So
No worries, I can do that.
So we'll start from the top there. So it's 11 points regular slashing damage.
Yep. Then 4 points from the fire.
Hang on. Brings you down to that. 4 points from the fire.
Correct.
Bring you down to that. And 7 points radiant.
7 points from radiant.
That would bring you down to that. So as you make your first attack, and you strike out at the shadow that has tried to claw at you from sort of half, almost looks like it's half in the wall, half out still, and you strike it out with your slashing. It seems to slash through it, and it doesn't seem to do as much damage as you had hoped, but it definitely did some damage. You see the fire. Again, the fire sort of goes bright and then dims out real quick as it hits, and again doesn't do the damage you hoped. But the radiant damage shines bright and hits with that real radiant sort of flash and sound, and the creature recoils from the radiant damage and almost dissipates and then reforms back in front of you. I believe you have a second attack.
Yes, and second attack was 20 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Alright, so it was 11 points slash.
11 points
6
slashing.
points. Yep.
So 6
6
points
points
fire. So that'll be... Yep, got that. And your radiant damage?
8 points radiant.
That would be enough to kill that creature. So as you strike forward with your second blow, the radiant damage again rings out with bright sunlight, sort of a bright white and sun, and almost like a sunlight sort of glow to it, and the creature just goes and disappears in front of you, and is gone. That creature is dead. So you have movement and a bonus action, I believe.
Alright, I'm gonna dispel the flame, and that's it. I'm gonna
That is
stand
it.
right where-
No problem. Next in line is the blob in the center of the thing. Poor Namaris is last in the fray. Namaris, I'll get you to roll before your turn. I'll get you to roll a wisdom save as well, please. So the whole shit demon here, or the giant poop, is going to reach out with one of its giant tentacles and make two. Actually, no, it's not. It is going to attempt to swallow the large constrictor snake that is at its side.
Yay!
Make a strength saving throw for me, please. Strength versus strength. Oh, that is not good for you. +4 on my streak gave me a 13. So the creature reaches down and opens its maw and engulfs pretty much half your body and almost slurps you down like a noodle. It's kind of disgusting to watch. But you are now swallowed. You are blinded and restrained, and are unable to breathe. At the start of the mound's next turn, you will have to make a Constitution save as well. But at this point, you are just blinded, restrained, and unable to breathe. So you can hold your breath for 1 minute plus your Constitution modifier. So what's your Constitution modifier?
+2.
So you can hold you can hold your breath for 3 minutes. So you got a bit of time. But you are now holding your breath and can't see or move or breathe. And that is pretty much it for the big pile of poo. And named Maris, you are up. Make a
9.
wisdom save for me,
We
please.
did get a 9.
A 9, thank you. And that will be a yes on the question you asked me before.
Right, so I'm going to raid.
Namaris is raging. She cries out with a really guttural growl and rages hard. Her eyes, she chokes, and her eyes glow a bright red orange as she coughs and splutters.
Methane.
Namaris, what are you going to do?
I'm going to jump into the water and head towards that thing.
You're going to jump into the water?
Wow.
So Namaris goes, sploosh! You immediately, what's the swimming rule? I can't remember what swimming rule is. You can swim half your movement speed, I believe?
Yeah.
Okay, because the water's deep.
It's exactly half.
Roll an athletics check for me to see if you can swim for a start. Because I'm not sure that Namaris can actually swim.
I got an 18.
Namaris can swim pretty well. She's pretty agile in the water. She can swim pretty good. So the water is a lot deeper than you expected. When you first jumped in, it went up over your head and you couldn't feel the bottom. But you get back to the surface and you can swim 15 feet out, which will get you almost within reach of the creature, but not quite.
Really?
You can only swim half your movement speed, so Unless you wanted to use your bonus action, the rest of your action to dash, which would get you to the demon, you couldn't attack once you were there, though.
Oh, that's just not good because I want to attack. Yeah, but I better.
So you're going to use your action to move to within melee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so you swim up towards the creature there. You get to the creature's side, and
hold on for dear life.
well, your feet kind of find purchase below you, so you're almost like you're standing on the creature. It's moving under your feet, but with the buoyancy in the water, you're doing pretty okay. So back to the top of the initiative order. Alessandros, you're up. You have a shadow demon at your side. Het, you're up after that.
Alright. Switching to my blades.
Switch to your bleeds.
And attacking.
You roll attack. You do not get advantage or sneak attack on this attack.
So yeah, using my Windbane dagger.
Windbane, yes.
25.
That definitely hits.
Don't forget you have advantage because it's lit up like Christmas.
No, he's striking the shadow demon, not the shit demon.
My apologies.
Wrong demon!
They're all shit demons.
Yeah, they're all pretty shit demons, but yeah. But
7 damage.
7 points of slashing or piercing. Slashing? Piercing? Yeah, piercing. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it really matters. I'll just double check here. And your Windbane daggers are magical, so that's not a problem. So 7 points of the piercing damage.
That's the first dagger.
Second dagger.
$20.
That hits as well.
$6.
6 points of the piercing damage. Alessandros, you just, as soon as you see the shadow demon, you sort of turn, daggers at the ready. First one slash across its belly, and it sort of you feel purchased, but it's not. It's weird. It's like trying to attack smoke, but you feel like you've done something with your first dagger, and you come across with your second dagger. Same thing, passes through, but the creature breaks corporeal form and then reforms as your sort of hands and daggers pass through it. Doesn't really make any sounds apart from sort of real breathy sort of noises as you hit it, but you feel like you're doing some damage, although not huge amounts. That is your action. Bonus action. You do have movement if you wish.
Yeah, if I move, I'm going to get an attack of opportunity. So
You will indeed. So you're going to stay there and slog it out. Not a problem. Het, you are up, and Fiala, you're on board after that.
Het looks across his team and sees that Alessandros is looking a little unhappy and unhealthy. As is Sadiq, to be honest, but he sees Ellie suffers more. He aims his loot, the head of his loot, with the clerical symbol facing Ellie, and he says, "Steel Lady, guide him." And he casts Healing Word as his bonus action.
No problem. Healing word. Cast your healing word as bonus action.
Yes, that's 3rd level, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 points of healing. Well, that's pretty low rolling, but it's 8 points of healing for.
So Alessandros, you just feel this warm sensation come over your body, and you receive 8 points of healing.
And as Hit's action, he casts Sacred Flame. He turns the loot symbol to the creature in the middle of the pond, and he Sacred Flames it, so it needs to make a dex save.
The dex save of we got here. Make sure we get the right one. Of 11.
Do any of us need to do that here in the water?
No. It's a targeted spell, so.
11 fails, and the creature takes 9 radiant damage.
9? So the
So
creature
no
takes 9 radiant damage. And
It says, "By the power of the Steel Lady, I destroy thee."
and the radiant damage, the radiant light streams down from, it seems like the grate above, and strikes this poo demon, and don't burn the noodle, with the snake's tail still poking out of its maw, and it sort of struggles and sort of writhes around in a bit of pain, and
I'll save you, Fiona.
and retains the noodle in its mouth with a roll of 19 on that save.
It will move to the bridge as his last part of his turn, and that will be it.
You're going to go across the bridge or on the bridge?
Just onto the bridge to the south. Just on it, thing.
Done. So, Fiela, it is your turn. So you can make another strength check, strength save, sorry, to see if you can break free from the maw of the creature.
14.
14. Let's go here. Natural 19 on my roll. I'm sorry. So you are still stuck.
I'm still mad at you.
You're struggling. You guys can see the noodle it's starting to disappear now. The noodle's starting to disappear inside the creature's maw. There's probably only a couple of feet left, but it's still wiggling, so it's still alive. So that's pretty much Fiola's turn, unfortunately. Next is Alessandros. You are getting attacked by the shadow next to you, and it's going to it's going just to attack you with its claw with a natural 20 on the roll. That is good for me, not so good for you. So that's 15 damage straight off the bat, plus the roll of another 5, so that is 20 points of psychic damage. As the creature sort of reaches, almost like it reaches into your mind as it runs its claws across your face, and you just have this immense pain inside your head.
Don't encourage him, Yanti.
That's 2 natural 20s tonight, guys, from the DM. That's not good. If I'm rolling that good, you guys are screwed.
I'm hurt bad.
So yeah, so that's the shadow demon. That's his turn. Next up is Sadiq.
I'm gonna throw one of my daggers.
Throw one of your daggers. Not a problem. Roll to hit.
18 to hit.
That hits. I dare say you're throwing it at the shadow demon on Alessandros.
Yep. Four points plus 5, so 9 points from the piercing, and
do you get radiant damage on that weapon as well? I
yeah,
think you do, don't you?
Yeah, evil and fiendish.
That's right.
Fiendish.
Yeah. That's right, because that's your the tier weapon that we created.
Yeah.
So what was the radiant
my
damage?
My silvered one disappeared. The damage was 9 points of piercing and 4 points of radiant.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to put that silver one back in. I was mucking around with some stuff and accidentally deleted it.
Yeah, because I was just looking and I'm going, where the hell's my returning dagger? Oh, maybe he turned the Anger's Tear into the returning.
Well, it pretty much is. The Anger's Tear was, because that's silvered as well. The Anger's Tear is silver, so that's what we essentially created.
Yeah, how about we say that I turned the silvered one into that one, which means it's a returning dagger.
Well, that was the idea.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
So that's just reappeared, and I'm going to take another shot.
It does, indeed. And as it sort of strikes the demon, it vanishes and reappears backwards. Like, does it reappear in your hand or on your belt? I can't remember what we discussed.
It's returning. It doesn't
just comes back to your hand.
Stay. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says it returns at the next.
So for flavor, we'll say it returns to your hand, ready to be thrown again.
Cool. I love magic. And
Magic's awesome.
natural 20.
Natural 20. strike away.
so-
So max damage on your dagger. So max damage on the dice for your dagger, not your radiant damage. Radiant damage is just extra.
Alright, so it's 8 points of piercing
8 points of piercing.
and 6 points of radiant.
That'll be that much. That wasn't too bad. That radiant damage, every time the dagger strikes, the radiant damage just it just sparks and bright sort of sunlight, and every time it hits the creature just dissipates almost completely, and then this second time it struggled to reform. It slowly pulls itself back together, but it was very sluggish. Is that your turn, Sadiq?
Correct.
Next
Can
up,
I just ask a quick question?
I can't hear you.
I said, can I just ask a quick question?
When I can, if you speak up, yes.
Right. Does that get classed as a melee?
Yes.
I'm within 5 feet.
No, you're not.
Oh, wrong. Damn it!
Nice try, but wrong creature.
And I made a mistake. It's actually 13 points of piercing.
13 points? No worries, we can add that. Not a problem. Actually, though, no, it doesn't class as a melee. It was thrown, so it's ranged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
So next up, the blob. At the start of the turn, I'm so sorry, Fiala. This is not gonna go well for you. You take 15 points of acid damage because you are now being digested.
Oh, gross.
Wait till the craps you out.
Yeah, so Fiala, as even in your snake form, you start to feel the stomach acids and biles from inside this thing's belly starting to eat away at your flesh, and you take 15 points of acid damage. How many hit points does the constrictor have before you change forms? It's not a lot, is it?
Oh, shoot, I didn't even think about that. It has 13, so am I going to revert to
You
me then?
have, yes, you have. You pretty much tick. So 3 points will transfer over.
Alright.
So you've taken only 3 points of acid damage on your actual human form, but you guys watch as the tail disappears from the creature's maw. As Fiala, you guys don't know this, but Fiala has returned to her humanoid form and is now inside the creature, still restrained, still blinded, and being digested and unable to breathe. So that is the creature. That's the start of the creature's turn. The creature then turns, and sort of as it turns, Neymaris, can I get you to make a Dex saving throw, which I believe you have advantage on because you are
Thank God.
raging.
Yes. I do believe that
Speak
is
up.
a what? An 18.
An 18.
Mm-hmm.
18, well, that definitely saves. So you manage to keep your footing, even though like, you're in water, so you'd better sort of keep buoyancy. But it just you definitely keep your footing as the creature turns and makes 2 slam attacks against you. One with a 22 and one with a 15.
And they both hit.
Doesn't Amaris have persistent rage?
Mm-hmm.
No, she doesn't have persistent rage. Not yet.
It's on her last turn, moving twice.
Ah, yes, your
Ah.
rage would have dropped.
Sorry to be a pain in the butt, but
No,
I just
you're quite
thought
right. I did forget about that. So yeah, you are not raging. This, so your next turn you would have to re-rage, if you wish.
But yep.
So you don't have advantage on that roll.
Oh no! So I only got 11.
You still
But
saved.
you do because its fairy fire is up.
That's only on attacks, not on saving throws.
Oh, yes, it's not a saving throw.
But you saved anyway. It's only a
Hell's
DC 10.
Vengeance.
was only a DC 10, but you've got Helm's Vengeance as well, so you can add your D6, I think it is.
Yeah, but that's just for taking damage, so all good. Oh no!
No, it's a
1d6
saving
your
throw.
ability.
Yeah, it's ability checks as well.
Wow, that made it 12.
Yeah, you're still saved. It's fine. And Fiona, so you're still snake form.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong snake. Sorry,
All
but
good.
yeah.
So the tail is still sticking out of its mouth. She had a lot more hit points than she thought. So the tail is still there. But those two slam attacks did hit you, I believe.
They did.
They did. So you will now take. And this will be full damage because you are not raging.
Mind you.
8 plus 5, 13 points of bludgeoning damage for the first one. And 14 points for the second, so 27 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, and no, I was just having a look. I do get advantage on dex against effects.
That's only if you're raging.
No. That's just in my saving throw.
Yeah, but if you read it, I'm pretty sure it says you have to be raging.
It just says advantage on dex against effects you can see while not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
Well, there you go then. So you saved anyway. You saved anyway, doesn't matter. Anywho, back to the story.
Rolling on!
So you got slammed with a great big shitty arm as a giant poo arm just comes in and slaps you and covers you in all sorts of disgusting things. You can see leeches all over this thing as well. It's pretty gross. Next up would be you, Namaris. being the last in the initiative order. Alessandra, you're up next.
And finally I can hit it!
And you get advantage because of Fairy Fire. But you are not raging, so you don't get your rage damage.
I know. 17 to hit.
It does hit.
You're right.
It's a pretty big creature. It's not hard to hit.
I get a whole 8.
Speak up.
9 damage.
9 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Put your mic in front of your face.
It is in front of my face.
Then why is it so quiet? Check your mic settings.
I can hear it perfectly.
I'm in the same room as her and I can't hear. So 9 damage as as Namaris jabs her Helm's Vengeance, her swacks into the gut of this creature, which now has to make a Constitution saving throw, and it fails. As you pierce the gut of this creature with Helm's Vengeance, it makes a horrible sort of guttural slurping sound, and like a giant noodle, sploosh, out the maw comes the Fiala snake, who now can breathe and is no longer blinded or restrained as she is spat out and splashes Namaris in goop again from the crappy water. So that is your turn, Namaris?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to move or bonus action?
I'm just looking and overhearing. If I might.
You
Nope.
you remember you failed your wisdom save.
I know, but I
So
can't
you
do
have to.
anything else with that. I can't.
You can. A bonus action.
No, I can't.
It's a
I
bonus
don't
action.
have any slots left.
Have you used it twice?
Yep.
Ah, so you don't have any left.
Nope.
So
why?
with that, you take 7 points of psychic damage.
And I've got resistance to psychic damage.
You do. So that would be
Take
3
3.
points. What's up, Death?
Woo!
There could be a death
Um,
shortly. So that is your turn then.
Yeah.
Alessandris, you're up, and hit your up after that.
Attacking the shadow.
The shadow?
demon.
Alessandra strikes out again, still not with advantage. Strike out at the Shadow Demon with your Windbane daggers.
Missed with the first hit.
What'd you roll?
Hang on. Whoops.
Always tell me what you roll.
12.
12? Yeah, you missed.
Alright, taking on the second dagger. 18.
18. That hits. Roll your damage.
7.
7 points of it. Is that piercing damage? The Shadow Demon again breaks its corporeal form as you slash down with your second dagger, and it really struggles this time to reform itself, and it now makes an attempt to turn and flee. You can see it sort of turning. It hasn't fled yet, but it will on its next turn. So you can see it's turning away from you as it's moving. So is that your turn?
Attack of opportunity?
It hasn't
Come
moved
on,
away
give
from
me
you
it,
yet.
give me
Hasn't moved away from you yet.
it. No.
So that's you. Hit, you're up, and Fiala, you're up after that.
Hit runs off the bridge, seeing he feels like Ali took some big hits, and he sees the Fiala snake come out. He runs towards Sadiq.
How far?
As far as 30 feet would take me past Sadiq, closer to Ali, seeing Ali.
Pretty much take you to the opposite bridge.
And with that, he says, he holds the loot forward, showing the symbol of the Steel Lady, and he says, Steel Lady, I channel your divine grace to send these creatures away. And he uses a cleric ability he has never used before, Channel Divinity.
Ooh.
And I don't know what these creatures are, I'm only making assumptions here. Any celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend that I can see within 30 feet must now make a wisdom save.
Ooh, okay. So both creatures will make a wisdom save. And they both fail with a 3 and a 5.
Okay, so 13 was the limit. They are both now turned for 1 minute, which means they must spend their turns moving away from me and taking no reactions.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh.
Interesting indeed. Well done.
So
Well
in
played.
their turns, that is all they can do. That is my action. As my bonus action, I turn the loot quickly towards. Oh Jesus! I'm looking at 2 hurt people here. Looking towards the Marcast.
You
Healing word.
were breaking up, dude.
Sorry, a 3rd level healing word at Neymaris.
Neymaris? Okay. So healing word has been cast. Neymaris, you hear the familiar healing words of Het, and you have a warm fuzzy feeling as you receive.
Rest on me.
Het says, Still Lady, heal her, and she gets 11 points of healing.
11 points of healing to you, Neymaris.
Why, thank you.
That is it for Het.
That is it for Het. Fiala, you're up.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm just gonna try and grapple again.
You're gonna try and
That's what I'm
grapple
gonna
again. So strength v strength.
do. Yes.
So that is a 16 by the Paradym.
I also got a 16.
Ooh.
I win? Yeah?
Comes down to Dex, doesn't it?
No, I'm not sure how that works actually on a tied roll for strength v
I think it
strength.
comes down to the plus.
What's your strength modifier?
0.
Yeah, I've got a +4 strength, so.
Oh.
So, well, actually, no, I'd make that more in favour of the person that has the lower modifier. It means they rolled higher on the dice. That's kind of how I look at that.
DM
Rock,
choice.
scissors?
I'll do it that way. I'll allow it. I'll allow the grapple. We're gonna rule it that way from now on. Any strength v strength, strength versus strength. based on modifier, whoever has the highest dice roll will win it.
Alright.
Just, because I think that's the only fair way to do it, really. So the spherical demon is now grappled by the giant constrictor snake, and you also need to roll to hit, I believe, before we can resolve that grapple. Anyway, you have to hit it first for constrict, I think.
10.
Unfortunately, that does not hit.
So it doesn't matter
so
anyway.
it doesn't really matter anyway. Yeah, you got remember roll the hit first. You got to be able to hit it to be able to constrict it. So it takes no bludgeoning damage and is not grappled this turn.
I'm dazed from being digested.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. You're a little bit sort of weirded out by the whole being inside its gullet and being digested, and you kind of misjudge and slap the water, spraying Namaris with some more grey water. It's pretty gross. She's getting it in her mouth and in her hair, and you can hear her coughing and spluttering as she carries on. So next up, you have got movement, if you so wish.
No, I'm gonna stay.
You just stay floating there in the water. So the shadow demon then turns and starts to meld back into the wall. Trash man.
Yes.
You get an attack of opportunity as the creature starts to dissipate back into the wall and moves away from you. You take your attack of opportunity.
20.
That hits. Roll your damage.
20. No, that's 7.
So 20. Piss off. 7 points of damage. And you see this creature go to turn and try and meld back into the wall and disappear. And as you reach out with your main dagger, you strike across its back. And you just, again, you just hear that noise as it just dissipates before you and disappears. So that is that one gone. Sadiq, it is your turn.
I'm going to throw one of the daggers at the poo mound.
Poo mound, throw away.
$15 to hit.
That does hit, indeed.
Eight points of piercing damage.
Yep.
And 3 points of the radiant damage.
Not a problem. The dagger strikes true and sort of hits the creature just below the jawline into the neck, and you see it open up a wound. It sort of stays open for a moment, and then you watch that wound as the dagger disappears and returns to your hand. The wound slowly sort of pull itself together with strands of poo and vines and all sorts of things that have sort of come to create this monster. Your second attack.
Nasty. Second attack is 27.
That definitely hits.
And the damage would be 7 points of piercing and 5 points of radiant.
13 total.
A
Again,
lot easier to calculate the damage for the dagger.
again, it is the dagger strikes true. A similar place on the other side, just below the collarbone, opens up another wound. As the dagger returns, again you watch that wound just sort of knit itself back together.
Actually, I got to ask this: is it undead?
No, it's not.
That's good. I don't have to add that damage then.
It is not undead. So, movement, bonus action.
Staying exactly where I am.
No bonus action.
No.
So the demon's turn now has to turn and run away from the divine
Yes,
hit,
he does.
and he moves
If
pretty much
Madison range,
pretty much all the way across the other side, because that's about as far as he can
Take an
go.
opportunity.
Take the opportunity.
I'm getting there. Wait your patience, guys. Come on. 2 attacks of opportunity, one from Neymaris and one from Fiala Snake. So, Neymaris, take your attack of opportunity as the creature leaves your melee range. Also, a dexterity saving throw because you're now not standing on it anymore and treading water.
Well, what would you like me to take first? Because I think I just...
Attack of opportunity.
Right, well, I got 21.
That does hit, so roll your damage for Helm's Vengeance.
Don't forget advantage too, because it was in melee range with very fine.
Ah, that's right.
That was, definitely. You still hit it, so you're fine.
12. 12 damage.
12 damage. And roll your dex save for me.
9.
Yeah, so as the creature, even though you're in the water, as the creature sort of moves away, it pulls your feet out from underneath you. You strike out and sort of catch it as you're falling, and you then fall and dip under the water again. Unfortunately, your mouth was open and got some more poo and grey water in your mouth, and you sort of breach the surface again, sputtering and coughing, but you're now treading water up to your shoulders. So you're just literally treading water. Fiala Snake, with your attack of opportunity, please. So it'd be just your bite attack. Holy Jesus.
Sorry. That's you. That would be 18.
That hits. Roll your damage. Damage.
12.
12 points of piercing damage. Well done. So as the creature slinks away from you, you turn around and just lash out with your fangs, and you find purchase, and it tastes terrible. But you persevere and sink your fangs into the creature's flesh, and do 12 points of piercing damage. That is the creature's turn. It's pretty much all it can do. So Neymaris, it is your turn. You now have 15 foot of swimming speed.
How far away is it even from?
Probably just 15 feet if you're lucky.
Well, I'm gonna
Start
swim
swimming.
towards.
So you're gonna have to climb back up on you find its body again underneath, and you back up to waist depth in water.
Mm-hmm.
You can now make your attack again with advantage. Free fire is still up.
Right, well, I shall attack with. $25.
That hits. And you guys have been lucky. I've been forgetting about something, but Neymaris might not be so lucky this time.
And I hit it with 18 damage.
18 damage. Make another dexterity saving throw. And Fiala as well, sorry.
Let I not do it with a D8.
It probably doesn't. Yeah, probably pay not to do it with a D8. So what was your damage? 12, yeah?
18.
18. So what was your dex save?
5.
How much?
5.
Speak up, please.
5.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
5.
So you take 7 points of acid damage as the splatter from this creature is rather acidic. So and your dex save, Fiala?
18.
18. You save. So you manage to avoid the acidic splash as Neymaris strikes out and slashes open a wound on this creature's body. I'd forgotten about that part of that, so you guys were lucky. So we're back to the top of the round. Alessandros.
Take an attack. Yeah.
So you're going to use your bow?
Demon. Yep.
Strike away.
Nat 20.
Nat 20, beautiful. Roll your damage. So maximum dice first, and then roll to add to that.
So, yeah. 16.
16 points of piercing damage as you fire your arrow, and this time it sticks in and doesn't dissolve or doesn't absorb like it did before. It sort of sticks just above its shoulder. It is not looking too healthy at all. Those wounds that sort of looked like they knitted closed before have all starting to reopen, and you got this dark grey ichor just slowly seeping out of some of these wounds. Bonus action movement.
Staying where I am.
Staying where you are, no problem. Hit, you're up. Fiala Snake after that.
Once again, Head calls for the Steel Lady to guide him as he pushes his loot towards Alessandros and casts. He's at a 3rd level's 2nd level healing word at Alessandros.
Again, Alessandros, you hear Hit's soothing words as he plucks his loot and calls for the Steel Lady's aid.
9 healing points to you, my friend.
And 9 healing points.
And as his bonus action, he uses the dirty old sacred flame again on the big pooey-looking demon.
Dex save.
Dex save.
Which is a natural 17.
It saves.
Well, actually 16 on the save with its minus Dex modifier.
That's fine. It still saves it. I missed it this time around.
So yeah, you miscalculated where the demon was sitting because of the divine, whatever it was before. Your divine energy just sort of scared it away and it moved, and you just missed the edge of it as you cast your sacred flame. Is that your turn, Overhead?
That is it for it.
Fiala Snake, it is your turn. Sadiq, you're up after that.
I'm gonna do the same old thing. I'm gonna go up to it now and try again.
You'll try again. So
Two
roll
out.
to hit to begin with.
16 plus 6 is 20.
That definitely
something.
hits. So strength v strength. Ooh, that's bad this time. 10.
18!
So this time you succeed in wrapping your large body around the waist of this creature. Roll your bludgeoning damage as well. The creature is now grappled and unable to move.
That'd be a 14.
14 points of bludgeoning damage. And as you go to wrap your body around, you whip your tail around and strike it hard as you do. And the creature makes a real horrible sort of gurgling noise and is really not looking good at all. So, next, Sadiq, you're up. Still have advantage because it's still under Fairy Fire.
Cool. How far away from me would it be?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. About 40 feet. 40, 50 feet.
Alright, cool. So I've got to take a -2. Alright. Throwing the dagger at it again.
Yep.
Uh, 17 to hit.
That definitely hits.
8 points of piercing and 1 point of radiant damage.
Describe how you destroy this large shit demon.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So when it hits, when the radiant hits it, it explodes.
Oh no!
It explodes. 1 second.
Yeah.
With an explosion.
Someone else is getting coated in shit tonight.
With a 19 on my range roll, everybody make a Dex saving throw.
That's a 17 for me.
So anyone over a 15 will take this, not take damage from the acid spray.
Yay!
Nat 1.
That one. Shit. So who rolled over a 15? Sounds like Sadiq did. Sound like Het did.
Correct.
Namaris did. Fiona, what was yours?
10.
10. So you failed, so you'll take this damage, and Alessandros, you'll take this damage. You both take 11 points of acid damage as the dagger strikes the back of this creature's head, and the radiant light strikes out once more, and being of fiendish nature, the creature just explodes in a spray of acidic goop. Het, Sadiq, and Neymaris all manage to avoid the damage. Neymaris dives under the goopy water, expecting to get sprayed with this, not wanting to get hurt anymore. Risks foul disease and more shit in the mouth to escape damage. Het and Sadiq just are far enough away where it just doesn't quite reach them. Unfortunately, Fiala and Alessandros both get sprayed with bits of acidic crap and take that damage. But we are now out of initiative order.
Oh, that was a fun fight.
Was it?
Speak for yourself.
Well done, people. That is... we'll go back to our main scene here.
I'm just gonna
So-
go over and
The poop demon, or Stericor demon as I named it, is no more. Neymaris and Fiala are still in the water.
I'm just gonna swim out and go over by Al
So you're all gonna...
and give him 5 HP.
So, Alessandros, you receive 5 hit points of healing.
Here's going to drop a pot. Anyone else want a healing salve or a healing potion here? I have some potions available.
Just a question. What does the Sadiq plasma build actually do?
Once per day, 1d4 plus your con over 4 rounds.
So it's generally used within combat. So you get a D4
Must
plus your
remember that.
Constitution modifier, and you'll get it over four rounds in combat.
Okay.
So it's a heal over time.
Yeah, and it's you roll the d4 each time. So it could be, say, if your con was +3, it could be 4 or 7, one of the two, depending on which way you roll. Or, and then the next one you roll again.
Yeah.
And you get 4 pills.
Cool.
So-
Apparently I've got one.
So as
You're
the
gonna-
poop
what?
demon explodes, you guys collect yourselves and clean yourselves off once again.
Yep.
You, Alessandros, you hear, because you're closest to it, and Neymaris should probably hear it too, you now hear another audible click and a whirring of gears, and you then hear the, and as you turn and sort of look, you now watch as a small opening appears in between the sort of the brickwork on the walls there, and it sort of and drops in a little bit. And if you
So now it opens.
If you
I
push on
look
it-
at Ali and I'm like,
if
what
you-
did you do?
if you push on it, you'll see it gives, and you have found a secret entrance. Pretty much right where you were standing. You get the impression with what just happened that this creature may have been placed here on purpose to ward off any would-be followers or searchers of specific people entering into the sewers.
Or severely wound them so when they get in there they get killed anyway.
There is that possibility as well.
Are we fairly safe here?
I'd go
You
no.
could be. You might. You've just defeated a large poo demon and a couple of small shadow demons.
I
But
think we need to carry on.
you
at
are in the
this point.
sewer.
It also has a few more health potions if you two would like it. Ali and Neymaris, you're looking pretty unhealthy from what I can recall from the fight.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 60, I might be about 23 health.
Scale of 1 to 60.
Nice.
I like it.
Your mathing means nothing to me. And here's a health potion, just a standard one.
Thank
It'll
you.
do somewhere around the rounds if you know 2d4 plus 4.
Hit.
Oh no, chocolate loaded down.
Hit, it is about this time now that things have calmed down and you've been able to return to your own thoughts. You receive a message, a magical message in your head from your father, which is what I DM'd you in the Discord earlier. Whether you choose to divulge that information is completely up to you, but you have received that message.
Okay, Hit's going to digest this message.
You go digest your message. So as you guys sort of gather yourselves, the secret door has opened, and you now have another way to go. And Alessandros, you know that it's right next to where that Thieves Can't mark was, and what you can glean from it is this is where you need to be. This is where you need to go.
Cool.
What do you do?
Going in.
You push open the door.
Yes.
You push both hands on the door. Make a strength check for me, please.
I'm going to assist.
With advantage. 19. So yeah, without too many hassles, both you and Sadiq sort of push on the heavy brickwork, and it's not a big door, like it's not tall, but it's tall. You'd have to sort of all kind of have to duck in to get in through it, but it's reasonably heavy, and you push on it, and you hear it, and it opens wide enough for you all to sort of push your way through. And what you see as you enter into this space is a well-lit chamber. About 20 foot by 20 feet with a door at the opposite end.
Do we want to take a short rest here to get some good points back and whatnot?
Check the area for traps.
Roll investigation for me.
I'd rather wait till we can have a long rest, to be honest.
20.
Nah.
20. So you search the
only an
room.
hour.
It's a 20 by 20 room. It's about 20 feet tall as well, so it's a huge square room. You got sconces on both sides of the wall, so it's very well lit. The floor's different in here. It's clean. There's no water anywhere. It's all well cobbled, and the door looks relatively well used as well. But you check around and you can't find anything, traps, anything like that. You get to the door, and on the door you find a seal. And Alessandros, you would know the seal as the Order of the Black Fang, which is the den of thieves and cutthroats that inhabit the sewers of the city. You've seen the seal before in your previous dealings with certain folk, and you know to be careful, but you also know that you should be pretty safe.
Ellie, take the damn potion I gave you.
Oh, you gave me a potion, did you? Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
So remember, guys, the potions that were bought or given by the guild do their maximum healing.
What is the max?
So you'll get
For
12
a
out of that one.
for a regular potion, it's 10. Next one up is 20, I believe. 15, sorry. No, 20.
What am I getting?
So I think it was a
10
regular.
HP.
So it's
Just a regular, so 10, sorry.
so just 10 HP.
I'll let the brothers and sisters know that it's safe to go in, just got to be careful.
So do you all venture into the 20 by 20 room?
Hit stays to the rear, but if everyone does, he also will.
Yes.
Do you close the secret door behind you?
Yes.
So again, it'll take a couple of you to do it, but you manage to close it. And when you close it, you hear it click, and those gears sort of, you can see the mechanism above the door now. It's quite an ingenious mechanism. Metal gears and stuff, and you can watch the lock sort of reinstitute itself as the door closes. Very ingenious. Something you're quite fascinated with, and most of you have probably never seen such workings before either, so it is quite fascinating to watch the gears in that move. It's something relatively new to this realm.
While I'm studying these gears, is there a way to lock it so that the door can't be opened again from the other?
As you watch it, you watch a steel rod descend from the top, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like it locks. It relocks itself. It was always locked to begin with. You have to press that button, and generally by pressing the button, it releases the defense mechanism. You get the impression that it's quite possible that those creatures, even though they were fiendish in nature, were probably magically bound or magically created as well.
So we're not going back that way then, huh?
Quite well. That's the impression you guys get. Just with the intricacy of the lock, Sadiq, your knowledge of such things, and Alessandra's your knowledge of the Black Fang, you guys sort of can make that sort of assumption that was a defense mechanism, and it's quite possibly reset with the door closing.
What's the temperature like in here?
It's warm. Het, you feel a lot more comfortable. The smell seems to have almost vanished with the closing of the secret door. So in here, it's actually got a reasonably pleasant smell. You
If
can
it's
still,
warm, my breath is definitely showing then.
yeah, it's you can definitely smell it still because it's in your it's still in your nostrils. That smell's not going to go away for a while. But yeah, your breath is showing quite heavily in this room. Because it's not cold, it's not warm, but it's not hot either. It's just a good room temperature. But your breath is definitely showing.
I'm going to ask Fiala nicely if she has any nice herbs on her that might foul the stench while I try and wash off with them.
I'm still a snake, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Prestidigitation.
So you can ask her, but she's not gonna. She's gonna.
I'll ask her with decent sense.
She will hiss back at you.
She can answer me telepathically.
Only if you use your ability.
Decent.
Beast sense doesn't work like that, I don't think. I've got to remember myself, to be honest. You could probably speak to her
Mind
telepathically
link
with Mind Link,
response.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was after.
Yeah. So using Mind Link, you ask Fiala that question.
Yeah.
Any herbs to do
Help
what?
with smell.
Oh.
Or I could have cast Speak with Animals.
You could have, but it's a ritual. It'd take you 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So either way,
Good.
Het used prestidigitation on you anyway, so now you smell pretty good.
Thank you!
Het sort of wanders off around this room on his own. How big did we say the space was?
20 by 20 by 20, so it's 20 foot tall, 20 foot wide, 20. It's a square.
Het starts running his hand
It's
around
like
the
a 20 foot
wall-base,
cube.
moving away from the bulk of the group a bit.
Yep. So what are you guys up to? What are you going to do? You're going to go through the next door? You're going to wait? Do you want to take a short rest to recover some hit
Het
points?
is investigating.
It's investigating. Roll investigation. What are you investigating for, specifically?
Any other than the door out, anything else that could be hidden in the niches of the wall.
Roll your investigation.
I'll assist.
You'll have to roll your own investigation.
Yeah, go.
15 for Het.
15 for hit. Because you sort of run your hands around looking for like secret buttons, things like that. So with a 15, yeah, you don't really find anything. There's a few stones that look like they might be out of place. You give them a press, nothing really happens. You see a few small holes here and there, which you sort of a little bit suspicious of, but you sort of looking at it, you think, maybe it's just a stone. It doesn't really look
I
Too
get the
menacing.
feeling it doesn't trust me.
Namaris, did you investigate as well? What
Like,
you rolled a what? Sorry,
8.
an 8. Yeah, you look around and it's just stone. It's stone wall.
Oh, what pretty stones they are.
It's clean
I
though.
think-
Like the whole place, it looks clean. It's
I
looks
open
like it's
the
been
door.
maintained. You're going to open the door, so
He opened the door.
you're not going to rest.
Well, I'm assuming it's a Thieves Guild on the other side, so
You're assuming.
yeah,
Wait,
assuming. And I
Ellie,
reckon we
oh,
just
we don't
get
know
this
what's
pretty
there.
good.
How about you discuss it as a group before you start just opening doors?
Do I see him and grab him?
I mean, you can open the door if you want to on your own. It's completely up to you, but I would certainly discuss it with your group before you start doing things
Fine,
like that.
we'll rest.
Heather's not worried about rest.
I'm not
Heather's
worried about
worried about
rest.
you opening the door and getting squashed by an anvil. Or something dumb like that. You've got to start thinking before acting. How have you lived this long for bloody... Steel lady. Steel lady be with us all. No wonder I'm wasting spells on you during a fight, trying to keep you alive. And here you go, opening a door that can damn near kill you for all you know. And he walks off to the corner and just sits down.
Right, I go over to him, put my hand on his shoulder, and I'm like, "Are you alright?"
Just don't want to see anyone get dead for dumb reasons.
Okay.
I'm gonna slither over and use the tip of my tail to pat him on the shoulder.
Thank you, team. Let's just do our thing.
So, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
Well, with what the DM said to me about, I'm pretty sure that it's they're pretty good.
The DM didn't tell you
As
anything.
long
This
as
is
you
what you know.
This is what I know from my dealings with them. We're in their inner sanctum. They won't hurt us.
Except for the guy that we're chasing went to them.
Exactly my point. Thank you,
Potentially.
Sadiq. Someone
Yeah, I mean,
with some
that's
brain power.
yeah, that's your assumption at this
We
stage.
can strike a deal with them. Honor among thieves. I mean, come on.
You're the only thief here.
I'll go with him if everybody else wants to stay here.
Ooh, potentially splitting the party. This will be interesting. Will we split the party? Will we not?
It's not a good idea to ever
We
split
will find
the party.
out in 5 minutes' time, guys. We're going to take a short break here anyway.
Woohoo!
Whether these guys rest or not, we're going to take a wee break. Guys in the chat, thanks for joining us. Twin Gats, awesome raid. Dropping in with the raid there. Good to see you, buddy. Deathvale, awesome to see you too. As I said, guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Evldoa. I am doing a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. This is 5th edition D&D. This is episode 21 of a persistent campaign. If you wish to catch up on the campaign, go to my YouTube, !YT in the chat. We'll give you the YouTube link, and all the previous VODs are on the YouTube. Each VOD goes up the following week after the show. As you can see tonight, we are in the city sewers. Our team have just defeated a couple of shadow demons and a sterical demon, aka shit demon, which was inspired by Dogma, the movie. I don't know how many of you in chat will remember that movie or remember the shit demon from that film, but that was the shit demon was essentially what happened last show. It's awesome, dude. The last show we got into the sewers here, and Het hates the sewers. He hates the smell. He's a pretty clean dude. And someone said something about a possible shit demon, and I instantly thought about Dogma. It's the first thing that popped into my head. So I went over to D&D Beyond and created the sterical demon, which is essentially the shit demon from Dogma. So again, I'm not affiliated with D&D Beyond in any way, shape or form. I do love the site, however, so for those that want to know about D&D, if you're brand new to it, I suggest go to D&D Beyond. There is a new player guide there which will give you some real basic information and give you a step-by-step on the game if you want to get into it. So Deathvale, dude, if you want to find out some info on Dungeons & Dragons and how it all works for 5th edition, dndbeyond.com. So dndbeyond.com. And check out the new player's guide, man. It'll give you a whole bunch of information, which is really cool. So, yeah, so a great start to the show. We had a couple of encounters last show which sort of led up to this. It's a little mini dungeon crawl in the sewers of the city of Evldoa. To give those new to the chat a bit of a quick rundown of what's happened so far. Our party members have joined the Adventurers Guild, the Order of the Black Lion, which is the only way that you are allowed to adventure in the realm of Paradym, which is the world that I've created. It's a homebrew campaign, so there's no, I've sort of taken my inspiration from Skyrim and other RPG games that I really enjoy playing. So essentially what has happened is a prophecy has started, which has seen a rise of undead beings, demons and things like that. It'll eventually lead to a rift being opened between the realms of the Nine Hells and the material plane, releasing an ancient red dragon who wishes to rule over Paradym and bring about the end of days. So these guys have found out about this prophecy and are now working towards potentially thwarting that prophecy from coming true. They did 3 trials to start themselves in the guild. They've then done some different quests. They've battled with zombies and skeletal warriors and lesser vampires. They've battled with gnolls, orcs, all sorts of things so far. And they're now in pursuit of a thief who fled into the sewers, and they've been tracking him into the sewers, which has led to this particular juncture where they have come across the entrance to the Thieves' Den, which is the Order of the Black Fang, which is essentially the Thieves Guild, or Thieves/Assassins Guild. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at the moment. There's a bit more to it to that, but that's a basic rundown of the story so far. Our characters as thus: Alessandros, played by Darth Trashman, one of my mods, long-time gaming friend. Sadiq, who is half-orc blood hunter, is being played by Sadiq / Mr. Pecker, who's in the chat there, who has come to join us later in the game, but has become sub to the channel and has become a part of the gaming community here on our channel as well. Yanti is our druid, played by or Fiala is Yanti. God, I get confused. Fiala, the character, druid, played by Yanti, who is also a sub to the channel and a community member. Obviously, Het, our dragonborn, played by my brother Baz, and Nutty plays Neymaris, our barbarian paladin. So Baz also DMs another game that both Nutty and I play in. Baz and I have been playing D&D for a number of years, right back as early as 2nd edition. AD&D 3.5, we've played a range of role-playing games, Warhammer 40k, Magic the Gathering, all those types of things. So we're no strangers to RPGs and role-playing. A natural 20. I can't remember what natural 20 does.
Redeems 3,000 points.
Yeah, you also get to choose what game mode to play in Modern Warfare or Ironsight, or choose where I drop in the next game of PUBG, but we're not playing those, so.
I will save it.
You'll save it for the next time we play Call of Duty or PUBG or anything like that, so I'll remember that. But yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at so far, chat. Thank you guys for showing up tonight and supporting the channel, hanging out and putting up with the hilarity that is D&D. Feel free to come back every Sunday, 7:30 PM New Zealand Standard Time. This will continue probably for another 6 months, maybe a year yet. The campaigns are long. They do take a time to get through. These guys have only just not long hit level 6. Campaign's going to run to about level 15. So be interesting to see where the story goes from here. Now I'm going to be right back because I need to pee. So give me a couple of minutes.
pretty low, but he's got a lot of cantrips that are still useful. Health-wise, it's my biggest worry. I don't know. I'm going to have to start looking at keeping people up, and I guess Gowdy, you might have to look in the same way.
I'm saving my spell slots for heals. I'm
Who's-
wild shaping for now.
Who's
Yeah,
advertising
cool.
pee?
I did. I said I was going to pee.
Ah!
And we are back. Yeah, so it's
we're
completely
back.
up to you whether you guys rest or not. I mean, I'm not pushing the issue. It's your guys' choice. You're the guys telling the story, so I'm just the narrator.
Oh, honestly, I'm happy to wait for a long rest.
Yeah, we're all. Okay,
Probably an in-game.
Head's the only one that's really at full HP. Yanti, I've got no idea because she's
I
got a
can
temporary.
tank.
Yeah, I think we just push on because we can. Depending on what the fight is up ahead, pretty much.
If indeed you have a fight, that's the thing. You don't know what you're going to strike ahead just yet.
Yeah, it's assumptions, I guess, but you can only better assuming the worst.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the DM's going to try to kill us all.
He has been rolling really good.
I've been rolling pretty good tonight, so it is a possibility.
Yeah,
We
it's
might
lucky
leave
it's
the
not
internet
like
before
last
that
week.
happens.
So just Namaris, just making mental note, if you rolls a third crit tonight, take the dice off him, okay?
I could
Yeah,
always
swap
just
20s. Yeah, swap the 20s.
Swap 20s.
Okay. Give him one of mine.
Don't talk with your mouth full, lady. Jesus. Right. Team, I dare say we're all back.
Yeah, we're all back.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to sit tight. What do you guys want to do?
So
Well,
we are
I
now
want to
back.
go in, but at the same time, I'm a little bit worried that we're going to open the door, we're going to go into this den of thieves, and we're going to walk out with a dagger in our backs.
We should character discuss in game too. It'd be beneficial for the party.
That is possible. But if we try and talk to him, what harm is there apart from us dying? I mean, really, who cares about that?
Well, you're our only thief, so I'd be getting you to communicate, and your communication skills aren't the best.
Maybe we just say, hey, Ellie, you go through the door and we'll just stay here like nothing happened. And if you die, then we know it's done.
I don't mind going with them because they've got one of our city guys.
I'm gonna slither towards the door and tilt my head like I want to go in.
That's right, because you're still a snake. So
Yeah,
Fiona goes,
she's still a giant python.
I'm keeping my HP points.
and you get the impression that she's ready to go. She's at the door.
All right, I'm going to go to the door, open.
Yes, she is a giant constrictor snake.
I'm going to open the door. I'm going to walk in next to Fiala.
Yeah.
Like she's a pet.
Okay. Sounds like an idea. So, march. Just you two going in. We're going to have a marching order. The rest are going to follow.
I'll go behind.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So
It will be last.
it's going to bring up the rear. So you open the door. Well, actually, you try the door, and while you were looking for no traps before, there was definitely no traps, but the door is locked. Do you attempt to unlock it?
Well, the fact that I checked for traps, so there's no traps. So yeah, I'll attempt to unlock it.
Roll your roll for your thieves tool. So D20 plus Dex plus proficiency. Hey, we're pretty sure our battle had finished.
So, question.
Yes.
What's my thief tools give me?
That's just your thieves tools is your proficiency because you're proficient in them, so you add your proficiency bonus.
So I got a 15. That's with the dex. So do I have any other I need to add to it?
Yeah, your proficiency.
In what?
Your proficiency modifier at the top of your sheet
Ah.
should be +3.
Yes. So that's 18.
18. So yeah, so you're
Yeah,
lucky.
I
You
hate
just
that.
you feel like your lockpick is about to break when the lock clicks and gives, and you're able to turn it. It was a lot harder to pick than you anticipated, but you also kind of get it because of where it is. It was definitely one of the harder locks you've had to pick for a while. You're used to finding relatively easy locks. Look at that, just after 9 o'clock, dog goes Burko every fucking night. Same time.
Well, you're in something then.
Oh, it's the guy down the front. So yeah, so the lock gives finally, and you open the door, and you push it open. Again, the door's been used a reasonable amount of times. It's well oiled, and doesn't make any real sound as it opens. And you are greeted with a short corridor that curves around to your right. All very well lit. What do you do?
Continue forward.
Continue forward. Everyone following?
I'm sorry, I was dealing with dog. What did I miss?
Nothing.
Yes.
Yep, I'm going.
Slowly slithering behind.
Head drops back about 15 feet behind the last person.
Okay. So as you all walk down this corridor, and make the turn to the right, you start to hear the murmuring of voices, and it's a lot of voices. As you get closer, the voices get louder. You can't really make out what they're saying, but it definitely starts to get louder. And Alessandros, as you sort of get closer to this, it's an archway with a curtain. The curtain doesn't go all the way to the floor. It's sort of not pulled all the way. Are you guys stealthing, or are you just walking regularly?
Walking, I don't want to give him any reason not to.
Okay, so
I'm just walking normally.
So you all just walk normally, and as you
I
approach,
announce myself in a thieves' camp.
and the thieves can't. So you in your thieves can't code, you announce your arrival. Do you announce all the whole party? Do you let them know that there are 5 of you?
Yeah, I should.
So in thieves can't, you hear in return, enter. Do not touch your weapons.
Relay that to the others.
Not a problem.
So you all move forward.
Okay.
You move forward through the curtains, and what you are greeted with is a large, cavernous room. It's surprisingly large. It's about 60 to 70 feet high at its highest point. It is well lit. There are like makeshift chandeliers with candles on them. There are sconces around the wall. What you see when you walk in there is directly across from the doorway you've just entered is a large, almost throne-like chair with a woman sitting, leaning forward on her hands, sort of chin on her hands, leaning forward, watching as you guys enter the room. She's dressed in dark leathers, a sort of small cloak / cape thing, the hood's down. She is a tiefling. She is of dark red in color, really almost blood red, like real dark crimson brown, almost a brown. It's very, very dark. Very unusual for a tiefling of that color. So you walk forward slowly, and as you turn and look around the room, you only see a few other people, but you heard a lot more voices. You see sort of half dozen people on the left and maybe the same on the right. But you can't see the outside walls on the right-hand side. Even though there's lit torches there, it's really weird that there's a lot of shadows that make you, Alessandros, very uneasy. You obviously are a child of the shadows, but having this much shadow around the outsides of a room, you know from experience there's probably a lot more people here than you can see. She leans forward as you enter the room, and addresses you initially in Thieves' Cant, Alessandros, and asks you, what brings you here? Why have you entered our domain?
Explain the situation to her. Why we're down here.
So
Who
explain.
are-
So explain it to her. She's not a mind reader.
Oh, come on!
Roleplay, man. Roleplay.
Oh, you suck. Okay, I explained to her that we're after a thief. But this is no ordinary thief. He is was a member, or is still a member of the city guard, and has stolen some valuable information pertaining to a curse, I suppose you could call it.
So
Anything else?
she leans back, puts her hand on her chin, and then leans forward and in common. Ah, yes. We know of this man. And she waves her hand over to the right, and two men, humanoids, step out of the shadows with a third man, bound, hair disheveled, and push him down on his knees. Now, Marish, you recognise this person straight away.
So do I recognise this as Riffin? Riffic?
Riffic. Riffic is a dwarf. So he was already short to begin with, so he's down on his knees now. His hair, obviously very, very red and gingery, but very scruffy. Like normally, most dwarves are well kept with braids, and even with his beard, he looks like he's had a bit of a beating. His head's bowed, you can't really see his face. But she then addresses you again and pretty much says, well, so you come seeking this man?
Step forward, and I look at her and
She
I say,
raises her hand to you and says, I'm not speaking to you. Step back. And she looks back.
snap.
She looks back to you, Alessandros, and says, "This man we caught wandering around our sewers, and he did have a bag with items. He says are very valuable. He also says that his wife and his daughter depend on him giving these scrolls to a courier, which is supposed to meet tomorrow. But I'm not sure that this is a good thing."
So I explained the situation was my group are actually doing and why we're trying to get those scrolls back.
I see. So what can you do for us? We have the scrolls. You want the scrolls? You are in our sewers. You may never leave these sewers if you do not pay the toll. And she grins slyly with that statement, and Alessandros, you know exactly what that means. You either have to pay for the scrolls or offer something in return for the scrolls, a favor, a deed, something of that nature. You've had dealings with these people before.
Could you give me time to discuss with my group what they would like to do? It shouldn't be too long.
Time? You wish time to discuss? Very well.
Okay, I explained to the group.
You has 15 minutes to decide if you want to make a deal or if you want to die. And she just sits back and just folds her fingers in her hands and just watches as you guys sort of come together. She's keeping an eye on this. You notice she's keeping an eye on Fiala too. There's this giant snake. She's not taking her eyes off.
So, we have a situation here, guys. We can either die here.
Well, everyone heard. She'll speak in that last part. She was speaking in common, so everyone's aware of what's just happened.
I recommend we make a deal, but do we want to make a money deal or do we want to make a mission deal? A quest deal, sorry.
I'd be happier with a quest deal, but it just depends what it is. Although I think I can take.
Well, tell them that their lives are in danger from this prophecy as well. If they don't let us go about our work, it doesn't matter about how they live in this crap zone of a sewer. They will be dead.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
Ask her what she weighs.
Oh, can I think to Numeris for a minute?
No, Namaris's
Crap.
ability is only if she talks to you first, unfortunately. So you are unable to communicate with anyone right now, except for hissing loudly.
I'm gonna flick my tongue towards that little dwarf. That sounded bad.
I think she's gonna eat him.
The snake turns, and in the way a snake does, very sort of, it almost seductively turns and waves its head like this and flicks the tongue in the direction of the dwarf. Now, Maris, you notice this, and you think, is Fiala hungry?
I look at her and I'm like, what are you doing? But not out loud.
Are you using Mind Link again?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the chance to respond to that
I'd
question?
like to know what happens to him and his family if we leave him here.
I think they die.
You gonna relay this to us or are you just gonna keep it to yourselves?
I look at the rest of the group and relay the message.
He will most likely die, and his family will most likely die because he has not delivered the said contents.
Ali, Sadiq, been the trackers of the room. How many people? He is saying this quiet as he can. How many people do you see in this room?
So, glancing around the room, you see obviously the guild leader, you assume, sitting on her throne. To her left, you've got the two humanoid hooded figures. You can't really see their faces, with Riffic. Then to the left of them, on a couple of stools, sort of just out of the shadows, you got two or three others. So it's probably about 5 or 6 on her left. On her right, you see about the same. You only see roughly about sort of 12 or 13.
And that doesn't include the people behind the shadows, okay? We're not fighting, no.
So, hang on, I was going to check out something from Fiala's snake.
Blind sight.
You've got blind sight, yeah. That allows you to see in pure darkness. You can't see into the shadow. How far is it? 60 feet?
Only 10, I think.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't be able to breach the shadows because the room's quite large.
Is there any point in me casting Divine Sense?
Well, you could, but you don't know the consequences of casting a spell in the presence of armed men and women.
Don't do anything stupid. Jesus Christ, people.
Oh, so I can see.
You're one to talk. Door opening guy.
Right, so
Like,
with
people
that,
smack the woman. I mean, come on.
the woman then speaks up again.
Give her what
Right.
she needs.
Your 15 minutes are up. What have you decided?
What would the favour be?
Well, that is just it. If it is a favor, then we will call on you when we require a favor.
We can roll with that.
We are not stupid. We know this prophecy affects everybody. Of course. We do not want to die. You do not want to die. But we are here to make money, yes? Well, we are.
So money is what you want then?
We are here to profit. We don't profit if everyone is dead. So, this is what I propose. We will let this thing go with you. We will give you the scrolls. In return, when we require, we will contact you. And you will provide us with your services. Do we agree?
Can I make an amendment to that deal? Just a small one.
Speak.
Are you able to protect his family?
We may be able to find out if what he is saying is true. If it is, we will be able to retrieve his family. Yes.
Then we have a deal.
My name is Aryan, by the way. I am the leader of the Order of the Black Fang. You, I am not sure I know. You know our ways. I've not seen your face before, but I am sure you are familiar to me. I will find out. But at this juncture, we do have a deal, as you say. You will take this man to whoever you must to stand trial for his betrayal. We will do what we can to assist his family. We are thieves and assassins. We get paid to kill people, but we do not kill innocents. It's not what we do. Without us, the city falls apart. So, we agree on the terms of the deal?
Yes.
That snake is creeping me out, by the way. I'm really not comfortable with giant snakes in my
I
sanctuary.
squint at it and flick my tongue.
And you see her noticeably shudder. She is totally creeped out by the snake.
I go over and I just give Fiela a little scratch on the.
And Ariana, she cocks her head at you, Neymaris, and says, "I know you as well, Neymaris the Bloody.
Yes,
You are famous around the city, of course, but you are no longer city guard. You do not have the authority to do anything at this juncture. This is why I speak to you the way I do. No disrespect intended. However, since the deal is concluded, get the fuck out of my cave." And she just literally points to a darkened part of the cavern or whatever it is, and a bunch of torches just light, and another passage lights up. And with that, on that side of the place, you see a whole bunch of hooded figures sort of light up in the light of those sconces, and you see at least another 24 well-armed individuals, bows at the ready, arrows knocked, weapons drawn, just waiting for one of you guys to do something stupid.
See, I told you, see?
We will be in
Just
touch.
one question.
The Dragonborn speaks. What may I do for you?
Are you some sort of evil demon or fiend? What are you?
I am Tiefling. I am half demon. But mostly good. Apart from stealing and killing. But it's all good. It's for the greater good. I'm about as good as you are, Master Dragonborn.
We shall see.
And she gives you a bit of a wink as you and a nod with that statement.
Hit looks at the signal of the steel lady on his lute. Looks back at her. And then he just carries on with the deed.
So you guys then, as pretty much as you approach the two armed men, well, the two men holding Riffic, sort of pick him up on his feet and sort of shove him towards you, and he staggers forward, and he sort of looks up, and he's got one eye that's swollen shut. He's battered and bruised. Ariane signals to one of the other men, and who hands you, Alessandros, a scroll tube, basically. Do you open it to see that the scrolls are there?
Yep.
So you open it, and in what I think is Elvish, I don't know if you can read Elvish, but you open the scrolls up and you see two scrolls
I can.
written in Elvish. One written, you can see just by quickly sort of skimming over it that it's got information about the prophecy, and it looks like a little bit more detailed information than what you guys currently have. The other scroll, you can't read the glyphs and everything on it, but it looks to be a spell of some sort. But it's definitely looks like this is what you're after. Yes.
I go to, if they'll let me, throw Riffic over my
As you go to grab Riffic, he sort of gets up and sort of puts one hand on your shoulder at first, and just looks up at you with his one good eye and says, "Nemaris, I'm sorry, but they have my wife and my daughter. I had no choice." And then he virtually passes out as you pick him up.
Okay, so I pick him up then.
So you throw him over your shoulder. Make a strength check just to... You shouldn't have any problems because he's only a dwarf, but...
23.
Yeah, you got no worries at all.
Yeah, 23.
I mean, he's not a big dwarf, and he's got no armor on. He's just in rags. They've obviously stripped him of any armor he had. And so you guys follow the corridor and head out?
Yeah, head out the way that is not the sewer way.
That sounds good to me.
Funnily enough, as you traverse this corridor, you get to the end and you find a ladder leading directly upwards. As you look up towards the top, you can see a small grate. It's not a big sort of almost like a man-made tunnel, big enough for sort of one good-sized person. It would be a little bit of a squeeze for you, but you'll be able to fit up there. And at the top is a grate. And as you all climb your way out of the sewer, pop the grate, and it's just outside the city walls, in a sort of tree of groves, relatively well hidden. So you exit the sewer.
Switch out a wild shape to do that.
You could sliver your way up there quite easily and quite quickly if you wanted to. Being a giant snake, you'd have no trouble.
You'll probably freak the citizens up top.
There's no citizens. It is out in the right on the edge of the wooded area outside the city wall. It is very well hidden, and not many people are in that area at all. That's why they chose to put that entrance there.
All right.
So you all leave the underbelly of the city with the promise of a favour to the Black Fang when and if requested. Obviously in return for the return of the scrolls which you have received, and the return of Riffic, who still needs to stand trial for his theft. So what is your next course of action? Where do you wish to go?
I'm still gonna get out of wild shape
So
and
you're gonna transform back to Fiela?
Yeah, I'm gonna walk over to Ali and say, could I have a look at those scrolls, if you don't mind?
Oh, why not?
Do you read Elvish at all? Actually, you do. You're a wood elf, aren't you?
Yeah, I kind of do.
It's part of your race. I forgot. So yeah, so you take the scrolls. Do you read through them? Well, you wouldn't have time to read through them thoroughly. The one scroll, you know enough about magic and enough about certain things that you know that it is a portal spell, but it's been altered. It's different. It's much more powerful than the average portal spell. With this particular scroll, you could open a portal between planes and hold it open for quite some time. Not permanently, but a lot longer than the average portal spell.
Is anyone good at doing forgeries?
You wouldn't be able to forge that if you tried. The other scroll, as you sort of browse over it, it gives information. You see Kostas' name in there. You see the name of the white dragon, which has been dubbed the champion of men, Yuldri. You see information about the 9 hells. You see information about binding. A lot of stuff that you guys already know, but there's also information about a champion of Asmodeus, something that you haven't heard about before. Not a lot of
I'm going
information.
to ask Yayla, like, what does it actually say?
Pretty much what we've already known. I'll probably look over it more once we get a rest and let you know.
I recommend we go to the Mage Guild quickly.
Why?
You also have a prisoner to deal with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get the Mage Guild to do something with him.
But
I mean, after all the scrolls did come from there.
Yeah, at this point, Maris will probably chime in and inform you that even though the scrolls have been stolen from the guild, they all have to go back to the city guard as evidence.
I was going to say, we need to take these guys back to the guard.
Thus, that brings me back to forgery. Not to make a exact copy of that, but to change it in a way that it doesn't open a portal. Just in case the scrolls, decide to go walkies while they're in lockup.
I got the feeling that this portal was actually the one that they originally used to send the doofus.
I think we
It's
need
probably-
to just take them to where they need to be.
But it's also probably the portal that'll probably bring him here. Okay, do what you want.
Talk it out, guys. I mean, this is your moment. Talk it out.
I've said my piece.
It doesn't know. It thinks do we take it to Namaris's father, see what he thinks. He knows more of this than
Actually, that's a good idea.
rest
I
of
like
us.
that idea.
Wouldn't mind seeing Dorothy again.
I have a few questions for him myself.
So what do we do? What are we doing, guys?
What say you, Sadiq?
Take the dwarf back, and keep the scrolls until we actually talk to Thorfinn about it.
Sweet. Right.
Right.
Maris, do you want to lead the way to Thorfinn?
They can do that. I think we
So-
might need to give this guy a bit of a clean up while we're there as well.
You're gonna take him to the city guard first, or you're gonna take him to the Arcanus?
Arcanus first.
Arcanus first.
Then City Guard, because I don't want to have to ask stupid questions. So where's the evidence?
Also, we need to disguise him if we're going to take him to Thorfinn first, because they will see him as we traipse through the city.
You are correct. The city guard are looking for him.
Throw a bag over. He's still out cold, isn't he?
He is out cold.
Still, well, he'd be on Naris's shoulder by now, though, wouldn't he?
He's over. Yeah, he's over. Namaris is carrying him. Like, he's still recognizable. He is a long time he served on the city guard for the best part of 20 years. He's a sergeant.
Bag of holding.
No.
He is recognizable. You could almost guarantee, and Namaris would know this, that he would be recognized by the city guard.
I'm tempted to say you guys take the thing to Thorfinn and I'll take him to...
Actually, that's probably the better way to go.
That could
Item
work.
inside the snake. The snake's not there anymore.
There's another way we can do it. We can get Alessandros to become like the dude that they're chasing, get him to lead the guard on a wild goose chase while we do all the other.
I like that idea, but no.
That is a pretty
No.
cool idea.
Tell you what, you guys go and take that to Thorfy. Go and hurry up and get there because I'm gonna go slowly to the city.
Someone stay with. We need at least 2 people just in case.
Yes, you don't want to leave her unguarded with a dude on her shoulders.
I'll go with Yamaris then, and you
Okay.
guys go do the.
Yep, I like that idea. Awesome.
Sweet. All right. On our way.
Right, so you
Okay.
separate and you head in your respective directions. It's going to take you both a good, probably, it'll take you guys probably an hour and a half to get from where you are to the barracks, Namaris and Sadiq, and it'll probably take just over an hour for the rest of you to get to the Arcanus. So we'll do the Arcanus first. So, you guys you walk through the city streets, you have the scrolls in hand, and you reach the Arcanus Paradym. You open the doors. It's a familiar place, you've all been here several times. You have a few acolytes roaming around and performing standard magics around and reading books, and you got a few people sort of milling around. You got your entrance desk with, I believe, I gotta remember her name.
Bristles.
I can't remember her name. Give me 1 second, I'm just got to find her in my notes.
Jane Doe.
Nope, I don't have her in
Jane
my
Doe
notes.
number 4.
Jane Doe number 4. You greet the greeter. We'll call her Steve. Thanks, chat. And she says that Thorfy is on the 3rd floor. And so you guys make your way up. They all know who you are, so they're not going to stop you guys from sort of walking around the place. And you get to the 3rd floor, and sitting on the 3rd floor in a small part of the library reading a book is Thorfy, the tall elderly-ish elven gentleman, and you guys know as Namaris' father.
It's not Lysias, is it?
Possibly, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up on my other notes. But anywho, Thorfy looks up from his book and sort of, he's wearing little reading spectacles. He sort of pushes them up on his face because he's getting pretty old now. I mean, he's been around for a long time. And he says, oh, greetings. I'm glad to see you guys have returned. Any news at all? Thank you, Jax. Or not
Take it
even.
away, Ellie. It's all up to you.
Namaris, you start. No, wait, Namaris isn't here.
Namaris isn't there. It's
I'd like to, but I'm actually not with you.
Fiala, Het, and
Forced to have it,
Alessandros.
sorry.
Fiala, Het, and Alessandros, you are at the Arcanus.
So I'll explain everything, what's happened, all that. I'll also put my 2 cents in what I reckon we should make copies of that, slightly altered copies, and thus, yeah.
And Thorfy sort of looks at you and sort of grins in a warm way and sort of says, as that would be a good idea, but that's a little naive. We don't need to make an alteration or a copy of this particular scroll. As you see, this scroll is very important for a number of reasons, but mainly this scroll was used to seal away Kosis in the original ceremony that was performed 200 odd years ago now. If this prophecy is to happen again, and we do indeed need to send him back, we need this scroll. We really cannot change it. It was specifically written for this purpose.
I don't mean change that scroll. Make another scroll that's similar to it.
We can do one better. And he sort of asks for that particular scroll. He says, do you have it with you?
Hand it over.
So, Fiala, do you hand over the portal scroll?
Yes, I slowly hand it over to him.
And he
That's
sort of
right.
grabs it from you and sort of looks up at you briefly and looks back to the scroll. And then he holds it in his left hand and waves his hand over it and mutters some arcane words, and it vanishes. It will be quite safe in the pocket dimension until, if indeed we need it. It cannot be stolen again.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, Thorfy. You've put that in a pocket dimension.
Yes, I have.
Is
It'd
that
be-
the same
it'd be quite
pocket
safe.
dimension that you promised Yuri, the champion of men, that you were going to send Kosis to? Instead, you sent him to the hells.
I'm not sure I'm following,
You
Master Head.
understand. I went to my father, and he showed me some scrolls from years gone by. Your name comes up in them. Your name. You are half the reason this damn prophecy's come into fruition in the first place.
Is this true, Thorfy?
This
What?
is the reason this prophecy has come about is because of one Cass Agnond, I believe, who has tried to reopen a portal with the help of Asmodeus the Cruel.
If you
We
hadn't
sealed
put him in the hells, safe.
Kosis away in the way that we had no choice. He was too powerful to send to a pocket dimension.
You told Yildri he would be in a pocket dimension, and you
Yildri
changed
was
the
but another
rules.
dragon. We had no choice to deceive her in
So
this
you
manner.
used her.
Of course we did. We had no other choice.
And
If
now
we
you
did
want
not,
us to fix
none of you
these
would exist
problems.
today. Of course, we would all be dead. End of days would have happened. We had no choice. This
So
is what
how
we
do
had
know
to do.
You're not using us now.
I have not asked you to do anything, so ergo, how could I be using you?
If you made
No,
a promise to the
that's
champion of men, I think she'd expect you to fulfill that.
We did make a promise, indeed, and we had every intentions of fulfilling it. But when the time came, we found that Kosis had become far too powerful to be bound to any plain old pocket dimension. And as a last resort, to save everyone from demise worse than the hells itself, we had no choice but to bind him to a plane where we knew he could not breach without some form of aid, and that aid was not available at the time. Unfortunately, one Cass Agnond has grown in power and has recruited several very powerful mages to aid him in being able to breach the veil between the hells and the material plane, which I
Who is this
believe that
Cass
Kosis
Agnond?
has also breached and come back for short periods of time. This will get worse as the days go by. Cass Agnond,
He's going to be angry.
Cass is he is an undead entity of some power. He's been alive for a long time. He fought alongside Kosis the last time they tried to open this permanent portal, and it was not a pretty battle. Of course, lots of lives were lost, but this also prompted the Great Dragon War, which unfortunately got out of hand, and a lot of innocents were slaughtered.
Did you say the Red Dragon has been able to breach the Nine Hells recently?
I believe so. We have had reports of 2 such breaches where not many lives were lost, but we have reports of 2 or
Not
3
many,
deaths.
but enough.
Of
Enough.
course. Or what?
2
Any
of my
life lost.
brothers. 2 of my brothers lay dead now.
But do you understand why, Het?
I understand that this dragon needs to die, and everyone who has anything to do with it.
And Hit walks out of the room at this point.
It
As
seems to me,
Het
Thorfy,
turns and
that
walks, just hang on a second. As you turn and walk, Het, Thorfy does send you a message telepathically, as he's able to do, and says, Master Het, Do not forget that your bloodline is also responsible for what happened. And that is all he says.
Hit shoots him a quick clear, but carries on walking out.
I understand Hit's frustration.
Thorpe, just one thing. You may have put those scrolls in a plane, but we kind of need them for evidence for a trial that's about to happen. So could we have something that's similar to them? Maybe?
I will send a message to Breton to say that the portal scroll has been recovered. The scroll, the information that you carry for the prophecy, you may hang on to and use it as you will. You may need that information in itself, but also Breton will probably need it for the trial for the thief. But as I said, what happened all those years ago needed to happen. We had no choice. I do regret that betrayals were made, and I do also regret that a lot of lives were lost, but those lives saved countless more in the long term. None of us would be here today if Kostas had succeeded. Just as none of us will be here in 6 months, 12 months' time if he succeeds this time. This
Seems
is something
to me
that
like
affects us all.
Needed Yiltri.
We needed her, and indeed. She was the only one that could get close enough to him to retrieve his blood, which we needed to bind him. None of us would have been able to do that. We are grateful for what she did. What became of her, I do not know. I know that the council, which I was a former member of, tried to assassinate her. I do not know whether they succeeded.
So we have no idea where she is now.
None. There are rumors.
What council?
The Council of Elders, which basically members of each race and guilds were formed to combat Kostas. The guilds now are not as strong as they were back then, unfortunately. This is why we now have adventurers.
Where can we find the guild?
The Council of Elders no longer exists. Some members still exist. I mean, I myself was the head of the council at the time. Het's great-great-great-grandfather was on the council.
There's got to be other members. Has to be other members.
There are still some alive, but not many. Most don't live as long as elves, unfortunately. But bloodlines still exist, of course. I mean, Het exists, so therefore his bloodline still exists. There was orcs. There was an orc clan that were responsible for spearheading the first attack on Kostas to stop him from attacking the city. There were all sorts of things. I mean, each race had a hand in it. The humans had a hand in it. The dwarves. They were all members of the council. Dragonborn, half-elf, elves alike. It affected everybody, of course. Whether that council could be reformed today, I'm not sure. Whether we even need that council anymore. I mean, the Adventurers Guild is quite capable of defending these cities. We have the city guard. We have an army. Coram himself, the Lord of Falond, has an army 10,000 strong. I mean, if we need it, it is at our disposal.
I just realised something too, DM.
Yes.
Thorby doesn't know him.
Oh, he knows.
Oh, he does? Cool.
He knows.
So you
he
needed
knows
his
you all
blood
too well.
before.
We needed his blood before to bind him to the Hells. This time, however, he's already bound to the Hells. How he's going to breach those Hells, we're not 100% sure. All we know is that Cass is having something to do with it. This is a powerful vampire. We have tried our magics to scry on him to find out what he's up to, but he is protected. Very well protected. He's very well connected to Asmodeus the Cruel, which is going to be a problem. We're not sure how to defeat him. We're not sure what part he plays in this either. But we know that Asmodeus himself cannot breach between the planes for any length of time. So it may be even him opening the portals for Kosis. But I believe Kosis is seeking revenge on former council members and their bloodlines. I think that is why he is breaching the plane to rid the material plane of potential allies so that he could sack Valond when the time comes. 1,000 souls in an hour is what he needs to open that portal permanently. And if he is not able to be stopped, it won't take him an hour to send 1,000 souls back to Asmodeus. I guarantee you that. And with that, you see in Thorfey's face, he is genuinely concerned. He is not 100% sure whether the material plane has what it takes to stop this from happening.
I sincerely hope you have regrets, Thorfey.
I've been on this plane for nearly 800 years. You have no idea the regrets that you have in such a long life. Decisions have to be made. Decisions that benefit some and not others. We had a choice to make, and a choice to make quickly, or all perish. The council chose as a whole. There was not any one individual that chose this particular outcome. I myself, if I was able to reach out to Yildri and talk to her again, I would extend my apologies for the betrayal, but it was a necessary betrayal. It's not something that many of the council wanted. The decision to hunt down and eradicate the dragons from this realm, again, was a decision not all of us wanted. This city once housed 5 great dragons. They were once our protectors and our friends. Now, virtually none exist. We know of one, definitely, which obviously is Kosis. We know of a possible other, Yildri, which no one has seen or heard from in over 100 years. We're not sure of how many others still exist. And he sort of, at that point, sits down and sort of takes his glasses off and rubs the bridge of his nose, and is looking decidedly old. Like, he looks older than you guys have seen him before. And sort of sighs heavily. The information in that scroll you have should hopefully aid you guys in finding allies. I wish that Yildri was here to potentially... I don't know that she would be an ally. She was betrayed by us and by Kosis, I believe. I'm not sure she would even trust man anymore. Night, Drax. If she was still alive, it's potentially that she could be the one causing these issues and trying to breach the plane. Who knows?
Discord message, dude.
I'm going to touch Ali on the shoulder and
Yes, Alessandra, she does.
nod at them and take my leave. I'm going to take my leave.
And sort of Thorfey sort of nods and sort of... He gives you a look which gives you the impression he's still unsure about you, but it's still friendly.
The fact that he's owned up to being one of the heads of the council, I may as well ask.
Okay.
As you said, I do know. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'll ask away.
Ask away.
Thorpe, what do you know of my family?
Ah, yes. I wondered when you would ask. I see you have changed your face. I'm wondering if that's due to a certain wanted poster that has been circulating.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Your family was tasked, well, your whole clan, in fact, was tasked to many of the assassinations and eradication of the dragons, because they were obviously, as you know, able to change their appearance, and they were able to get close to the dragons in their human form when they were most vulnerable. From my understanding, one of the last acts of the council before I disbanded the council. I want to close that door, all the moths are coming in. Your parents were tasked to find Evldoa, in fact, last rumoured to be in the north. Obviously, where most white dragons generally found in snowy climates and such. But unfortunately, they never returned. I've been keeping a close watch on you ever since. Not that you have known. I know about your mishap with Beth Morgan. I know it was in self-defense. And I could quite possibly help you with Breton and that fact.
That would be much appreciated.
But just remember, Alexandros, it is in your blood. You are from a line of assassins, and you will never escape it. It's what you were born to do.
So what you're saying I'm on a bound then, huh? Or,
in a way.
Soulbound.
Your family, your whole clan was tasked in this endeavour. So, yes, in a way, that would be completely up to you, but it is kind of your destiny as well. You're not bound by your clan's creed anymore because you are the last of your clan. You are the last of your race, in fact, in this realm. So, it is up to you what you do with it. If you wish to possibly avenge your family's death or clan's death, we don't know for sure that Evldoa was responsible for their deaths. All we know is that they never returned. But that was their final task, was to see her assassinated along with the rest of her dragon brethren. So do with that information what you will, young Alexandros. You do have a full life ahead of you. And I do like this new form. It suits you.
Thank you. And I make my farewells.
And he nods.
Go join the rest of them.
He nods and yeah. So, well, that took a bit longer than I anticipated, but it's all good. Yep, go for it, hit.
Very good. Did I even leave the door open a crack to hear any of that shit?
You can if you want. Make a perception check to see how much of that you perceived from the doorway.
16?
Yeah, you pretty much heard most of that. There was bits and pieces you didn't get, but you definitely got the gist of the conversation. You also got the sense that Thorfinn knew you were there. Now back to Hit, and yes, you can.
Sorry, just quickly. So as Viola came out the door, after a few seconds, she would have seen him sort of leaning. What's in the corridor there?
You've got, as you sort of move out of the library, in the corridor, there'd be a side table, there'd be paintings on the wall, there'd be a few shelves and that sort of as they go down the spiral staircase before you hit the top of the staircase. So in the actual immediate corridor, like a side table with a vase and flowers on it, quite a big vase, and a painting of, looks like some form of mage, maybe might have been an Arcanist Elder or something.
Head doesn't hear anything that goes on in the room, but about the time just before Viola walks out the door, strapped to his pack, there's a crossbow and a quarterstaff, and he just pulls them off and he smashes the vase to pieces with the quarterstaff. He snaps it in half and he smashes it through the painting. Then he grabs the crossbow, loads bolts, and just shoots them all through the corridor and smashes it to pieces on the ground as well, before finally sitting to rest amongst the rubble on the floor. And that is it.
And the whole time you're doing this, you get there's a couple of young acolytes on that level and in the corridor, and they're looking at you wide-eyed, like not knowing what to fucking think. And then as you sort of turn and grit all your teeth and growl at them, they sort of whoa, and they turn and they disappear. They run. I mean, they know who you are, they know what you're part of the guild and everything, but they don't want a bar of it. They're gone.
That's 27 intimidating.
Yeah, they're intimidated. They're bolted. They're gone. So quickly before we've got about 15
That is
minutes.
it.
So we're going to switch over to Namaris and Sadiq. You get to the barracks. You're greeted at the barracks by a couple of just regular guard. Namaris, you tell them, obviously you tell them this is Riffic and everything, and they let you into Breton's office. And Breton's sort of sitting, hands folded at his office, sort of going over a couple of papers. Sort of looks up. Ah, you returned. Oh, good. You found him. It's great. And alive, no less. Honestly, didn't expect you to bring him back alive. Be honest. So, what happened?
I relay what happened in the thing.
So you let him know pretty much the information that they've handed him over, and he goes, I half expected as much. He still needs to stand trial. We will do what we can to indeed free his family also. But, Riffic, I cannot believe that you were dragged into this. Riffic's still unconscious. He's sort of moaning, and you sort of let him down, and two guard come in and pick him up and lead him off to a cell.
I kind of look at the two guards and say, be careful with him, he's been through.
Right you are. And they gently move him on, and he goes into a cell. You know he's going to be looked after, even though he's guilty. He's definitely guilty of the theft. He technically is still a city guardsman. You get the impression that Britain's going to treat him well. I mean, this is not a barbaric city. They're not going to treat him like shit because he is former city guard. Well, I guess we owe you some coin.
I forgot about that.
What did we agree on? I forget.
Like 1,000?
I think it was 1,000 gold pieces, I believe. Right, you are.
I do believe you're right.
So he sort of rummages through the cupboard, sort of over here. It creaks open, and he leans down and picks out this bag, and he sort of picks it up.
I look over at Sadiq and say, do you think that everybody would mind, really, if we just said that one's on? Because it is for the good of the city.
Oh, no. You take this. It's you earned it. I mean, you brought him back alive, and he will stand trial, whether found guilty or not, because of circumstances is beside the point. The city will pay. You know how it is at Amaris. This is what we do.
I know, but you know.
Take it. And he pushes the bag of gold across the table to you. And
I wander up and pick it up and go, thank you.
You're welcome. Right. Evidence.
That's over with Thorfy. He'll be in touch with you soon. I would say.
Okay, no problem. I trust as long as it's gone back. That's the portal scroll. I assume that's gone back to the Arcanum. As long as that's back in safe hands, we're quite good. So if we need you to give a statement, we will contact you, of course. But I think that's all that we need. May I talk to you in private just a moment about that other matter that we discussed earlier?
Sure.
Sadiq, if you don't mind giving us a moment.
I just go up to the door where the doorway is and lean up against the wall and go ahead.
All right. And he sort of leans into you a little bit and says, sit, please. Right. The changeling situation. There's been a development, Namaris.
Oh gosh, yes.
I'm afraid that any privileges you had as former city guard are no longer in effect. It is unfortunate. The Temple of Helm has come to me, and you have broken your vows as a paladin. I didn't realize you had taken vows as a paladin. I never would have asked you to do what you did, and never would have let you do what you did in the end. So I'm sorry, you are no longer welcome at the Temple of Helm. And I'm also sorry to say your weapon, whatever magic it had, will no longer work for you, as it requires Helm's blessing to activate. I do apologize, but It is out of my hands.
I just look at him and I'm like, right. Not that I use it magically very often.
I don't know what that'll mean for your paladin abilities, but you could attempt to plead your case at the temple, like I would assume, or it's up to you, I guess. But again, I'm sorry. I will not ask you to do such things again. But I do appreciate your assistance in this.
That's okay.
Chat, she broke her oath as a paladin to protect the innocent and uphold the law, basically.
What did she
So
uphold?
she's now a fallen paladin?
Not really. She can't be an oathbreaker because she's not evil. But she now no longer has a deity to fall back on. So her weapon, your weapon no longer works the way it would. You can still use it as a sword, and it still works that way. But the Helm's Blessing part of the sword will no longer work for you. And you're not sure about your paladin abilities at this stage.
Alright, okay.
Time to kiss some ass.
I might just wander over to the temple, the paladin.
So it's going to take you a little while to get over there. Sadiq, are you going to head back to the guild? Because I'm assuming that's where you decided to meet afterwards.
No,
the Arcanist?
keep on going with...
You're going to go with Namaris?
Namaris.
Okay. So you guys head towards the Temple of Helm. Upon sort of as you get close to the temple, you can see the temple guard, which are other paladins of Helm, and they recognize you straight away, Namaris, and two guards in the armor of Helm, shields and spears, and they literally shields up and cross spears in front of the door, and just they don't even speak to you. They just cross spears across the door. And just their body language and the way they're looking at you, they are not going to let you in.
Alright, well, I go back and I head towards the fighting arena.
While we're doing that, I'm going to actually ask Namaris, like, what did she do wrong that's got them acting like that?
Well, as a paladin, I'm supposed to uphold the law.
The oath
And protect the innocent.
The oath you took was essentially a reiteration of your oath as a city guardsman, but in protecting the innocent and to always do the right
Uphold
thing.
the law. So, in not turning Ali over, I have not upheld the law, but I feel I was protecting an innocent. But never mind.
Screw your
Make
God.
a wisdom save for me.
16.
16. You feel weird right now. You definitely feel like you did the right thing by not turning Alessandros over, but you're also feeling guilty about breaking your oath as a paladin. But strangely, you're feeling anger as well, which is a little bit weird because you're not in combat, you're not ready to rage. But you definitely feel anger. You're not sure who it's towards. It seems misplaced to you. So you're just not feeling quite right.
Thanks for heading over to the fighting arena just to see if there's anything going on.
As you head over towards where the arena is, you see a notice on the arena notice board that says that the next champions fight is in 2 days' time, and the champion, when I find her name in my notes,
Somehow, which
Volda Grimm will be defending her championship against any who dare to challenge. see Breton Hart, of all people, to enter your bid to challenge.
I look over at Sadiq and I'm like, that bitch is mine.
Fair.
And Sadiq, the very first thing you notice with that statement is Neymaris had no accent for the first time in a long time. It was it was a very poignant statement, but there was no accent. And there was virtually no emotion to the statement, not even anger, it was virtually emotionless.
Yeah, still think she's worshipping the wrong god.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it there. We're 23 minutes past. We're almost at the end anyway. And I think we're at a pretty good point where we can call the evening. Unless you guys want to meet back at the guild house first.
Yeah.
Possibly a good idea.
So
You conclude your business. Do a little bit of a catch up.
Yeah. So you guys conclude your business. You head back to the guild house. Jeremy is there, the elderly steward that tends to your every need while you're there. He greets you as you come in the door. Welcome, welcome. Hey, excuse me, just 1 second. Do you guys have a name for yourselves or something? It's really hard to remember all your names. It would be so much easier if you had a group name so I could remember it. I'm getting old, you know. I forget things.
No.
Dragon's Watch? Does Fiala say that?
I have no idea.
Dragon's Watch sounds fine to me.
Guild Wars 2 reference. Yeah, why not?
Dragon's Watch? Oh, that sounds kind of interesting. I don't know if it's kind of suitable for a group, but it could do, I guess.
When you think about it, that's what we're doing. We're watching dragons and finding
Dragon's Watch it is. All right, Dragon's Watch. Welcome back to the guild. Do you require ale, whiskey, food,
all
rooms,
of the above,
hot
please.
bath?
Everything.
Well, luckily for you, there is no one else in the guild house this evening. The guild house is yours.
Let's get drunk, people.
And
No.
with that, we will call it there with everyone getting drunk.
Aww, Ellie, you're so much fun when you're drunk.
Right, XP, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do some quick calculations here.
There's no way Hit's getting drunk. He's just going off to his room. That's it.
Hit's a bit surly this evening. He's getting a bit antsy.
He had to cross his quarterstaff and crossbow out of his backpack because he's plugged in.
So they're both broken. So we will go. Oh, excuse me. 1150 XP each this evening. Yep, we'll start the RP next Sunday with the drunken guild guild party. So, chat, that is the end of tonight's episode. Thieves and Demons. The party was victorious in the sewer against the Stericor Demon, aka the Shit Demon. Against Shadow Demons. They successfully negotiated the return of Riffic and the scrolls from the Ariane, the leader of the Thieves Den, the Order of the Black Fang. They then returned Riffic to the barracks and got some valuable information from Thorfinn about the prophecy and about and some information about the Council of Elders. So next Sunday, 7:30 PM New Zealand Standard Time, we will return to Paradym Bold, and we will pick up with our party Dragon's Watch at the guild house, possibly getting drunk before hitting a night's rest to carry on with the next part of their adventure. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. It was an awesome show. Thank you to the players. You guys are awesome as always. The role play tonight was great. Thank you so much for hanging out and being a part of the show. Viewers, thank you for hanging out and being a part of this whole thing as well. Voivode, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it very much. Twin Gats for the raid. And yes, so we'll see you not tomorrow night. We've got tomorrow night off, but I'll be back Tuesday for community night. So we'll either be doing some more Guild Wars 2, potentially. Maybe some Scum. We'll see what happens. Probably Guild Wars 2. We did Scum this week, so we'll probably do some Guild Wars 2 as a community. So those that have Guild Wars 2 want to come and hang out with us and play some Guild Wars 2, we'll do that. And do some gaming for the rest of the week. It's Call of Duty, maybe some PUBG.
Hopefully we'll be back on Tuesday in time for that.
Yes, Tuesday night is my birthday. We are away for the day. We may be back Tuesday night for stream. If we are, we're probably going to do definitely do a Guild Wars community birthday stream thing. So it'll probably go a little bit longer than usual, I would imagine. Nutty's birthday on Thursday as well. Just so you're all aware.
Cool.
So we might do something Thursday night for Nutty. Let Nutty choose the game. Because she's off work this week, so she'll be able to play with us earlier.
Nice.
And not go to bed halfway through the bloody stream.
Oh,
She probably will. She'll probably still do that.
Yeah, go to bed 4 times.
yeah, that's it.
So that is it for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hit, aka Baz, thank you very much, dude. Another awesome night.
Sweet.
We'll see you next Saturday.
We will see you next Saturday. Oh crap, I fell off.
Sure will.
No, I didn't fell off. I'm still there. We'll see you next Saturday for the other campaign. And hopefully no one will die in that one.
Where Naima Araya might not die because she can never get her bloody characters right.
But that is it, guys. We're out. See you next time. Where's my thanks button? There it is.